before humans, before cities, before history itself, the Earth belonged to giants, not just big animals, but true titans. Dinosaurs so massive, their bones stretched longer than buses, their footprints could hold a child. They walked through ancient forests, drank from mighty rivers, and shook the ground with every step. This was a world of scale we can barely imagine. Some were longer than airplanes, others weighed more than a herd of elephants. How did they grow so huge? What kind of world could support them, and why did they vanish? Today, scientists are still digging, literally through rock and time, finding clues buried deep beneath our feet. Each discovery tells a new piece of the story. Join us as we step back hundreds of millions of years to meet the biggest creatures to ever walk the Earth. Before we begin this prehistoric exploration, let us know where in the world you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. Drop it in the comments below and settle in for a fascinating journey. The Mesozoic era, often universally recognised as the Age of Dinosaurs, represents a colossal span of Earth's history, extending from approximately 252 million years ago to 66 million years ago. This vast period, lasting for about 186 million years, witnessed the rise, dominance, and eventual demise of the most magnificent land animals our planet has ever hosted. It is subdivided into three distinct geological periods: the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous, each with its unique environmental conditions and evolutionary developments that collectively set the stage for the emergence of truly colossal creatures. The Triassic period, the first segment of the Mesozoic, began around 252 million years ago and concluded approximately 201 million years ago. This period immediately followed the Permian-Triassic extinction event, the most severe mass extinction in Earth's history, which had left the planet's ecosystems largely barren. In the early Triassic, life was slowly recovering from this catastrophe. The landmasses were largely consolidated into a single supercontinent known as Pangaea. This immense landmass meant that much of the interior was arid, experiencing extreme seasonal temperature swings. However, coastal regions and areas with significant rainfall supported emerging plant life. During this time, the dominant terrestrial animals were not yet dinosaurs. Instead, mammal-like reptiles, known as synapsids, and a group of crocodile-like reptiles called cruritarsans, held sway. The earliest dinosaurs, such as Euraptor and Herrerasaurus, were relatively small, agile, and often bipedal. They were minor components of the fauna, typically no larger than a human, and certainly not the giants they would later become. Their small size and specific adaptations allowed them to survive and slowly diversify in the shadow of the larger, more established reptiles. The Triassic was a period of humble beginnings for dinosaurs, a time when their evolutionary blueprints were being refined for future grandeur. Following the Triassic, the Jurassic period spanned from about 201 million years ago to 145 million years ago. This period is often considered the golden age of the sauropods, the long-necked, long-tailed, four-legged herbivores that would grow to truly immense sizes. The defining geological event of the Jurassic was the gradual breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea. As the continental plates began to drift apart, new oceans formed and the global climate became more humid and stable. This led to the proliferation of vast forests of conifers, cycads, and ferns, providing an abundant food source for herbivorous dinosaurs. With this lush vegetation, the stage was set for the evolution of gigantism. Sauropods like Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Apatosaurus roamed the landscapes, reaching lengths of 20 to 30 meters and weighing tens of tons. Their sheer size offered protection against the large carnivorous dinosaurs that also evolved during this time, such as Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus. The Jurassic also saw the diversification of other dinosaur groups, including the armoured stegosaurs and the widespread presence of pterosaurs, flying reptiles that soared through the skies. Marine reptiles, such as ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, also thrived in the expanding oceans. The Jurassic was a time of unparalleled growth and diversification for dinosaurs, particularly the sauropods, which became the dominant land animals across the globe. The final chapter of the Mesozoic era was the Cretaceous period, which lasted from approximately 145 million years ago until 66 million years ago. During the Cretaceous, the continental breakup continued, leading to the formation of more distinct land masses and the creation of vast shallow seas that flooded continental interiors. This geographical separation contributed to the evolution of regional dinosaur faunas, with different types of dinosaurs dominating different continents. The climate remained generally warm, though there is evidence of some cooling towards the end of the period. A significant evolutionary development during the Cretaceous was the appearance and rapid diversification of flowering plants, or angiosperms. These new plants provided different food sources and created new ecological niches. Dinosaur groups like the horned ceratopsians, Triceratops, the duck-billed hadrosaurs, and the armored ankylosaurs became incredibly successful herbivores. The giant predatory theropods also reached their peak, with iconic species like Tyrannosaurus rex in North America, Giganotosaurus in South America, and Spinosaurus in Africa. Many of the largest dinosaurs known, particularly the Titanosaurs, a group of sauropods, lived during the Cretaceous. These creatures pushed the boundaries of terrestrial size, with some species like Argentinosaurus potentially exceeding 70 tons in weight. The Cretaceous represented the zenith of dinosaur diversity and gigantism, with a complex web of ecosystems supporting these enormous animals. However, this era, and the age of dinosaurs, came to an abrupt end 66 million years ago with the impact of a large asteroid, leading to another mass extinction event that wiped out all non-avian dinosaurs and many other forms of life. The Mesozoic era, from its humble Triassic beginnings to its spectacular Cretaceous climax, was truly the epoch of the giants, a time when Earth's conditions allowed for the evolution of land animals on an unparalleled scale. The sheer scale of the largest dinosaurs, particularly the sauropods, has long fascinated scientists and the public alike. Understanding why these creatures grew to such immense sizes, far surpassing any land animals alive today, involves considering a complex interplay of environmental factors, physiological adaptations, and ecological pressures that were unique to the Mesozoic era. No single reason explains their gigantism, but rather a combination of advantageous conditions and evolutionary innovations. One of the most significant environmental factors contributing to dinosaur gigantism was the Earth's climate during the Mesozoic era. For much of this period, global temperatures were significantly warmer than today, with no polar ice caps. This warm, stable climate, coupled with higher levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide, fostered incredibly lush and widespread vegetation. Carbon dioxide acts as a greenhouse gas, trapping heat, but it also serves as a vital nutrient for plants. Elevated carbon dioxide levels meant that plants could grow more rapidly and extensively, creating vast forests and abundant food sources. This continuous and plentiful supply of plant matter was crucial for supporting the enormous dietary needs of large herbivorous dinosaurs. Without such abundant vegetation, it would have been impossible for sauropods, which likely consumed hundreds of kilograms of plant material daily, to sustain their massive bodies. Another ecological factor was the absence of large mammalian competitors. Throughout the Mesozoic, mammals remained relatively small and occupied niches as nocturnal, insectivorous, or small omnivorous creatures. This meant that the ecological roles for large herbivores were wide open, allowing dinosaurs to evolve into these positions without significant competition from other large animal groups. This lack of competition, combined with the abundant food, created an evolutionary pathway towards larger body sizes. Furthermore, an arms race dynamic between predators and prey may have also played a role. As carnivorous dinosaurs grew larger, reaching sizes like Tyrannosaurus rex or Giganotosaurus, increasing body size became a defensive strategy for herbivores. A sauropod weighing dozens of tons would have been a formidable target, even for the largest predators. From a physiological perspective, dinosaurs possessed several key adaptations that facilitated their growth to enormous sizes. One of the most critical was their highly efficient respiratory system, which is believed to have been similar to that of modern birds. This system involves a series of air sacs connected to the lungs, allowing for unidirectional airflow. Unlike mammals, where air moves in and out of the lungs in a tidal fashion, bird-like respiration allows for a continuous flow of oxygen-rich air over the gas exchange surfaces. This highly efficient oxygen extraction would have supported the high metabolic rates necessary for rapid growth and for sustaining the massive bodies of giant dinosaurs. It would have provided the energy needed to power their immense musculature and maintain their body functions. Many large dinosaurs, particularly sauropods, also had hollow bones, a condition known as pneumaticity. Their vertebrae and other bones contained air sacs that were extensions of their respiratory system. This adaptation significantly reduced the overall weight of their skeletons while maintaining structural strength. Imagine a bridge built with hollow steel beams instead of solid ones. It can be just as strong but much lighter. This weight reduction was crucial for land animals reaching such immense sizes, as it lessened the burden on their limbs and muscles, making movement more energetically feasible. Coupled with this, bone histology, the study of bone tissue, reveals that many dinosaurs exhibited rapid growth rates, especially during their juvenile stages. They grew quickly and continuously throughout much of their lives, rather than stopping growth at a mature size like most mammals. This sustained growth allowed them to reach monumental proportions. The concept of gigantothermy, or inertial homeothermy, is another hypothesis related to their size. Large body size helps maintain a stable internal body temperature. A large animal has a relatively small surface area compared to its volume. This means it loses heat slowly and gains heat slowly. Once a large dinosaur warmed up, its body temperature would remain relatively stable, much like a large thermal mass. This could have provided a stable internal environment, reducing the metabolic cost of temperature regulation and allowing energy to be diverted towards growth. While not truly warm-blooded in the mammalian sense, their sheer bulk would have given them a form of thermal stability. Reproductive strategies also played a part. Dinosaurs laid eggs, often in large clutches. Laying many relatively small eggs, rather than giving birth to a few large live offspring, meant that the female dinosaur did not have to bear the full, metabolic burden of growing massive young internally. This allowed for a more efficient allocation of resources towards her own growth and survival. While parental care varied, many of the largest sauropods are thought to have laid their eggs and left them, further reducing the energy expenditure on offspring rearing and allowing the adults to continue growing or focus on their own immense dietary needs. Finally, the long periods of environmental stability during the Mesozoic, without major climatic shifts or geological upheavals, apart from the end Cretaceous event, allowed evolutionary trends towards gigantism to persist and intensify over millions of years. This sustained period of favourable conditions provided the necessary time for these incredible evolutionary experiments in size to unfold, resulting in the largest land animals the Earth has ever known. The combination of abundant food, efficient physiology, and a stable environment created the perfect conditions for dinosaurs to reach their awe-inspiring dimensions. Sauropods represent the pinnacle of terrestrial animal size, encompassing the largest land animals that have ever walked the Earth. These magnificent, long-necked, long-tailed, four-legged herbivores dominated many ecosystems throughout the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, a span of over 100 million years. Their distinctive body plan, characterized by an enormous barrel-shaped body, pillar-like limbs, and a surprisingly small head relative to their immense bulk, made them instantly recognizable and incredibly successful. The evolutionary journey of sauropods began in the late Triassic period, with early forms that were much smaller and sometimes bipedal, known as prosauropods. These ancestral forms gradually evolved into the true sauropods by the early Jurassic. The earliest true sauropods were still modest in size compared to their later descendants, but they possessed the fundamental adaptations that would eventually lead to gigantism. Their success stemmed from their ability to efficiently process vast quantities of plant material, a critical adaptation in a world of abundant vegetation. One of the most defining characteristics of sauropods was their incredibly long neck. While the exact function of these necks is still debated, they likely allowed sauropods to access a wide range of foliage without having to move their massive bodies extensively. Some sauropods, like Brachiosaurus and its close relative Giraffatitan, had longer front legs than hind legs, giving them a giraffe-like posture that enabled them to browse on the highest tree canopies. Others, like Diplodocus and Supersaurus, had necks that extended horizontally, suggesting they might have grazed on lower vegetation or swept their heads across wide areas to feed. The neck was counterbalanced by an equally long, often whip-like tail, which also served as a defensive weapon against predators. To support their colossal bodies, sauropods evolved a unique skeletal structure. Their limbs were massive and pillar-like, designed to bear immense weight, similar to the legs of an elephant but on a much grander scale. However, despite their bulk, their skeletons were remarkably lightweight for their size. This was achieved through extensive pneumaticity, meaning their vertebrae and other bones were filled with air sacs, extensions of their respiratory system. This made their bones strong yet surprisingly light, reducing the overall weight their muscles had to move and support. This adaptation was crucial for reaching such extreme sizes on land. Sauropods were obligate herbivores, meaning their diet consisted exclusively of plants. Their teeth were generally simple, peg-like or spoon-shaped, designed for stripping leaves from branches rather than complex chewing. Unlike mammals, sauropods did not chew their food extensively. Instead, they relied on a massive digestive system, likely involving fermentation in a large gut, to break down tough plant fibers. Many sauropods also swallowed gastroliths, or stomach stones, which helped grind plant matter in their gizzards, aiding digestion. Their enormous digestive tracts allowed them to process the vast quantities of low-nutrient plant material required to fuel their immense bodies. The diversity within the sauropod group was remarkable. One major group, the Diplodocids, included some of the longest dinosaurs such as Supersaurus, which could exceed 33 meters in length, and Diplodocus, known for its incredibly long tail. Another group, the Brachiosaurids, featured the tallest sauropods, like Brachiosaurus, which could stand over 13 meters tall. However, the most diverse and often the heaviest group were the Titanosaurs. These sauropods, which flourished during the Cretaceous period, included some of the most massive animals to ever live on land, such as Argentinosaurus, Patagotitan, and Dreadnoughtus. These Titanosaurs were characterized by their robust builds and often possessed bony armor embedded in their skin, as seen in Saltasaurus, providing additional protection against large predators. Evidence from fossilized trackways suggests that many sauropod species lived in herds. These trackways often show multiple individuals moving together, with juveniles sometimes positioned in the center, implying a degree of social behavior and perhaps protection for the young. Bone beds, sites where many individuals of the same species are found together, also support the idea of gregarious behavior. Their reproductive strategy involved laying eggs, often in large clutches, in nesting sites. While direct evidence of parental care is rare, the sheer number of eggs laid suggests a strategy of producing many offspring, with survival relying on numbers rather than intensive parental investment. Sauropods played a crucial ecological role as the primary consumers in their ecosystems. By consuming vast amounts of plant material, they shaped landscapes and influenced plant evolution. They were also the main food source for the largest carnivorous dinosaurs such as Allosaurus in the Jurassic and the giant Theropods of the Cretaceous. Their long reign as the dominant herbivores for over 100 million years underscores their evolutionary success and adaptability. While some sauropod groups began to decline towards the end of the Cretaceous, the final demise of all non-avian sauropods, along with other non-avian dinosaurs, came with the asteroid impact 66 million years ago. Their legacy, however, remains as a testament to the incredible potential for size and majesty in terrestrial life. The story of Argentinosaurus huinculensis begins in the vast ancient landscapes of what is now Patagonia, Argentina. In the year 1993, a fossil discovery near the town of Plaza Huincul in Neuquén province sent ripples through the paleontological world. A local farmer initially found what appeared to be a gigantic bone sticking out of the ground. This initial find led to a more extensive excavation by paleontologists Rodolfo Coria and Leonardo Salgado. What they unearthed were fragmented but undeniably colossal remains of a sauropod dinosaur, a long-necked, long-tailed herbivore. The sheer scale of these bones immediately suggested a creature of unprecedented size, earning it the moniker Argentine lizard or Argentine reptile. The fossil material for Argentinosaurus is unfortunately incomplete. It consists primarily of a series of enormous vertebrae, including a sacral vertebra, from the hip region, and several dorsal vertebrae from the back, along with parts of a tibia, shin bone, and a few other fragmentary elements. Despite the limited remains, the size of these individual bones is staggering. One dorsal vertebra, for instance, measures approximately 159 centimeters, or over 5 feet in height. The sacral vertebra, a complex bone formed from the fusion of several vertebrae in the hip, was also exceptionally large. These dimensions are critical because they allow paleontologists to estimate the overall size of the animal by scaling up from more complete but smaller related sauropods. Based on these massive bones, Argentinosaurus is currently considered one of the heaviest land animals that ever lived. Its estimated length ranges from approximately 30 meters to 35 meters, or 98 feet to 115 feet. Its height, with its neck raised, could have reached around 15 meters, or 50 feet, equivalent to a 5-story building. However, it is its estimated weight that truly sets it apart. While estimates vary due to the incomplete fossil record, scientific consensus often places its weight in the range of 60 to 100 metric tons. To put this into perspective, a large African elephant weighs around 6 metric tons, meaning Argentinosaurus could have been as heavy as 10 to 17 elephants combined. This immense mass required an incredibly robust skeletal structure to support it. The structure of the Argentinosaurus vertebrae provides crucial insights into how such a massive animal could support its own weight. Sauropod vertebrae are not solid bone. They are highly pneumatic, meaning they contain large air sacs, similar to those found in birds. These air sacs would have been extensions of the respiratory system, making the bones lighter while maintaining structural integrity. This pneumaticity was a key adaptation that allowed sauropods to achieve colossal sizes without becoming impossibly heavy. The sheer size of the neural spines and transverse processes on the Argentinosaurus vertebrae indicates immense muscle attachment points necessary for supporting its long neck and tail and for moving its colossal body. The tibia, though incomplete, was also of a scale that suggested enormous weight-bearing capacity in its limbs. The life of Argentinosaurus would have been dominated by the constant need to consume vast quantities of plant matter to fuel its enormous metabolism. Living during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 97 to 93 million years ago, it would have roamed lush, forested floodplains. Its long neck would have allowed it to browse on high foliage, reaching leaves that other herbivores could not. While direct evidence of its diet is not available, its lineage, the Titanosaurs, were generally high browsers. The sheer volume of food required suggests that Argentinosaurus would have spent most of its waking hours feeding. Locomotion for an animal of this size would have been slow and deliberate. Its pillar-like legs, massive feet, and immense weight would have meant a ponderous gait, possibly reaching speeds of only a few kilometers per hour. Trackways attributed to large titanosaurs suggest a wide stance, distributing its weight effectively. The immense pressure exerted by its feet on the ground would have been tremendous, leaving deep impressions. Despite its size, Argentinosaurus was likely not immune to predation, especially when young. However, a full-grown adult would have been an almost unassailable fortress, its sheer bulk and powerful tail serving as formidable defences against even the largest contemporary predators, such as Giganotosaurus, which lived in the same region. The discovery of Argentinosaurus revolutionized our understanding of maximum land animal size. Before its discovery, other sauropods like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus were considered the epitome of dinosaurian gigantism. Argentinosaurus pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible for a terrestrial creature, prompting scientists to re-evaluate the biomechanical limits of land animals. Its existence highlights the unique evolutionary pressures and environmental conditions of the Mesozoic era that allowed such immense creatures to thrive. The limited fossil record of Argentinosaurus means that many aspects of its biology remain speculative, but the few bones we have paint a vivid picture of a truly majestic and awe-inspiring giant. Its legacy continues to inspire research into the physiology and ecology of the largest beings to ever walk the Earth. The discovery of Patagotitan majorum represents one of the most significant paleontological finds of the 21st century, providing unprecedented insight into the scale and life of the largest land animals. The story began in the year 2014 when a farm worker in the Chubut province of Patagonia, Argentina, stumbled upon a massive fossilized bone. This led to an extensive excavation by a team from the Egidio Ferruglio Paleontological Museum, led by José Luis Carballido and Diego Pol. What they uncovered was not just one giant dinosaur, but the remains of at least 6 individual titanosaurs, all found within the same geological layer, suggesting a mass mortality event. This remarkable concentration of well-preserved fossils allowed for a much more accurate and detailed reconstruction of this colossal creature than previously possible for other supergiant sauropods. Patagotitan belongs to the Titanosaur group, a diverse lineage of sauropods that dominated the late Cretaceous period, approximately 100 million to 95 million years ago. The fossil material recovered is exceptionally complete for such a massive animal, including numerous vertebrae, ribs, limb bones, femur, humerus, tibia, fibula, and even elements from the shoulder and pelvic girdles. This wealth of material allowed scientists to make highly confident estimates of its overall size and weight. Patagotitan is estimated to have reached a length of approximately 37 meters, or 122 feet from head to tail. Its height at the shoulder would have been around 6 meters, or 20 feet, with its head potentially reaching 15 meters, or 50 feet, when raised. In terms of sheer bulk, Patagotitan is a strong contender for the title of the heaviest land animal. Its estimated weight ranges from 60 to 75 metric tons. While some estimates for Argentinosaurus reach higher, the more complete and multiple specimens of Patagotitan lend greater confidence to its weight calculations. The evidence for its immense weight lies in the robust nature of its limb bones. The femur, or thigh bone, of Patagotitan measures approximately 2.4 meters, or nearly 8 feet in length, and is incredibly thick and sturdy. The humerus, or upper arm bone, is similarly massive. These bones are designed to bear immense loads, and their cross-sectional area directly correlates with the weight they could support. The structure of its vertebrae also shows adaptations for supporting extreme weight, with complex interlocking joints and pneumatic cavities to lighten the load. The discovery of multiple individuals at the same site, including both adults and subadults, suggests that Patagotitan may have lived in herds, or at least congregated in certain areas. This provides valuable insights into the social behavior of these colossal animals. Herding behavior would have offered protection against predators, as even the largest theropods would have struggled to bring down a group of full-grown titanosaurs. It also implies a need for vast territories to sustain such large populations, as each individual would have required enormous quantities of plant food daily. The environment in which Patagotitan lived was likely a lush floodplain, crisscrossed by rivers, providing abundant vegetation. The anatomy of Patagotitan reveals a creature built for endurance and bulk. Its relatively wide body, supported by widely splayed legs, would have provided a stable platform for its immense weight. The long neck, while not as disproportionately long as some other sauropods, would have allowed it to browse on a wide range of vegetation, from ground-level plants to the tops of tall trees. Its teeth were peg-like, typical of titanosaurs, designed for stripping leaves rather than chewing them extensively. Like other sauropods, it likely relied on gastroliths, stomach stones, and fermentation in its digestive tract to break down tough plant fibers. The excavation of Patagotitan was a monumental undertaking, requiring specialized equipment and techniques to extract and transport the enormous bones. The meticulous work at the fossil site has provided a wealth of data, not just on the anatomy of Patagotitan itself, but also on the ecosystem it inhabited. The sheer number of specimens allows for studies on individual variation, growth rates, and population dynamics, which are rarely possible for such large, rare animals. The scientific analysis of Patagotitan continues to refine our understanding of sauropod gigantism, offering a clearer picture of the biomechanical limits and evolutionary strategies that allowed these dinosaurs to reach such astonishing sizes. This discovery stands as a testament to the incredible scale of life that once roamed our planet, a true titan among giants. The discovery of Dreadnoughtus shrani in the year 2005 in the Cerro Fortaleza Formation of Patagonia, Argentina, marked a pivotal moment in understanding the largest dinosaurs. This particular find was extraordinary not just for the size of the animal, but for the remarkable completeness of its skeleton. While many supergiant sauropods are known from only a handful of bones, the Dreadnoughtus specimen includes approximately 70% of the skeleton, excluding the head, and over 100 individual bones. This makes it one of the most complete skeletons of any supermassive land animal ever discovered, providing an unparalleled opportunity to study the anatomy and biomechanics of gigantism. Kenneth LaCavara and his team from Drexel University were responsible for the painstaking excavation and analysis of this magnificent creature. Dreadnoughtus, meaning fear nothing, was named for its immense size and likely imperviousness to predation in adulthood. It lived during the late Cretaceous period, roughly 77 million years ago. Its estimated length is approximately 26 meters, or 85 feet from nose to tail. While slightly shorter than Argentinosaurus or Patagotitan, its estimated weight is equally impressive, ranging from 40 to 60 metric tons. What truly distinguishes Dreadnoughtus is its exceptionally robust build. Its bones are incredibly thick and solid, indicating an animal built for immense strength and weight support, rather than just length. The completeness of the Dreadnoughtus skeleton provides extraordinary insights into the anatomy and biomechanics of supermassive dinosaurs. For example, the humerus, or upper arm bone, measures approximately 167 centimeters, or 5.5 feet in length, and is incredibly broad and sturdy. The femur, or thigh bone, is also massive, measuring approximately 181 centimeters, or nearly 6 feet long. These limb bones are not only long but also possess large attachment points for powerful muscles, suggesting an animal of immense muscularity. The vertebrae, while also pneumatic like other sauropods, are exceptionally robust, with large, strong neural spines and transverse processes designed to support the enormous weight of the neck, torso, and tail. The sheer robustness of Dreadnoughtus's skeleton suggests that it was built to withstand incredible stresses. Its limbs were columnar, like elephant legs, designed to bear weight directly downwards. The broadness of its feet, inferred from other titanosaurs, would have helped distribute its massive weight over a larger surface area, preventing it from sinking too deeply into soft ground. The tail of Dreadnoughtus was also remarkably long and muscular, making up a significant portion of its body length. This powerful tail likely served as a counterbalance to its long neck and body, aiding in stability and potentially as a defensive weapon. The life of Dreadnoughtus would have been a continuous cycle of eating. Its estimated weight implies a daily consumption of hundreds of kilograms of plant material. Living in a lush, forested environment, it would have browsed on a wide variety of vegetation, using its long neck to reach high into the canopy or sweep across vast areas of ground-level plants. The teeth of Dreadnoughtus, while not preserved in the main specimen, would have been peg-like, suitable for stripping leaves from branches. Its digestive system, like other titanosaurs, would have been highly efficient at fermenting tough plant fibers. The exceptional preservation of Dreadnoughtus also allows for detailed studies of its growth rate. Analysis of its bones suggests that it was still growing at the time of its death, implying that it could have potentially reached even larger sizes. This rapid and sustained growth rate was a common feature among sauropods, allowing them to quickly reach a size where they were largely immune to predation. The environment in which Dreadnoughtus lived was a warm, humid floodplain, rich in the vegetation necessary to support such a colossal herbivore. The completeness of the Dreadnoughtus skeleton has provided invaluable data for paleontologists. It has allowed for more accurate computer models of sauropod locomotion and biomechanics, helping scientists understand how these giants moved and supported their weight. It also offers a rare glimpse into the internal structure of their bones and the extent of their pneumaticity. Dreadnoughtus stands as a prime example of the extreme gigantism achieved by Titanosaurs, a group that pushed the boundaries of size for land animals. Its discovery underscores the ongoing revelations from the fossil record and continues to inform our understanding of the incredible diversity and scale of life during the age of dinosaurs. Supersaurus is a genus of diplodocid sauropod dinosaur that lived during the late Jurassic period, approximately 153 million to 150 million years ago. Its name, meaning super lizard, reflects its immense size. While often discussed in terms of its overall length, which is exceptionally great, Supersaurus also represents a significant chapter in the study of giant dinosaurs and the challenges of reconstructing ancient life from fragmentary remains. The initial discovery that led to the naming of Supersaurus occurred in 1972 in the Dry Mesa Quarry, Colorado, United States. Paleontologist James A. Jensen unearthed several colossal bones that were distinct from other known sauropods. These included a scapulocoracoid, shoulder blade and attached bone, an ischium pelvic bone, and several vertebrae, including an 18-meter-long neck vertebra and a 1.3-meter-long tail vertebra. The primary reason Supersaurus holds the record for the longest dinosaur is the extraordinary length of its cervical, neck, and caudal tail vertebrae. The reconstructed length of a complete Supersaurus skeleton is estimated to be between 33 and 34 meters, approximately 108 to 112 feet. Some estimates push this figure higher, towards 39 or 40 meters, 128 to 131 feet, though these remain more speculative. This makes it longer than any other well-supported dinosaur species, including the more robust Titanosaurs. Its body plan was characterized by a relatively slender build compared to the bulkier Titanosaurs, with an incredibly elongated neck and a proportionally even longer tapering tail. This body structure is typical of Diplodocids, a family of sauropods that also includes Diplodocus and Apatosaurus. The slender nature of Supersaurus meant that while it was extraordinarily long, it was not necessarily the heaviest dinosaur. Its estimated weight is around 35 to 40 tons, which is substantial, but less than the 50 to 70 tons attributed to the very largest titanosaurs like Argentinosaurus or Patagotitan. The immense length of its neck, potentially reaching 15 meters, 49 feet, or more, allowed Supersaurus to browse on vegetation at various heights, though it was likely primarily a low to mid-level browser. The structure of its neck vertebrae, with their deep V-shaped depressions and complex bracing systems, suggests that the neck was relatively stiff horizontally, but highly flexible vertically, allowing for a wide arc of feeding. The tail of Supersaurus was also remarkably long, potentially comprising 80 or more caudal vertebrae. This length contributed significantly to its overall body length. In Diplodocids, the tail often served multiple functions. It acted as a counterbalance to the long neck, helping to stabilize the animal's massive body. It may also have been used as a defensive whip against predators, capable of producing a loud crack. The presence of a long, tapering tail with a flexible end is consistent with this defensive hypothesis. The chevron bones on the underside of the tail vertebrae would have protected blood vessels and nerves from compression when the tail was used or rested on the ground. The initial identification of Supersaurus was complicated by the presence of other giant sauropod, remains in the same quarry, including those of Ultrasauros, later renamed Ultrasaurus, and a species of Brachiosaurus. For a time, some bones attributed to Supersaurus were mistakenly assigned to Ultrasauros, leading to confusion about its true form and size. However, subsequent research and additional fossil discoveries, including a more complete Supersaurus specimen known as Jimbo found in Wyoming, have clarified its distinctiveness and confirmed its record-breaking length. This highlights the challenges paleontologists face when reconstructing gigantic animals from incomplete fossil records. Fragmentary bones from different individuals or even different species found in close proximity can lead to initial misinterpretations. The habitat of Supersaurus was likely a mosaic of open plains and forested areas, typical of the Morrison Formation, a rich late Jurassic geological unit known for its diverse dinosaur fauna. The climate was generally semi-arid with distinct wet and dry seasons, supporting a wide range of plant life. As a large herbivore, Supersaurus would have spent most of its time feeding. Its broad, peg-like teeth were suitable for stripping leaves from branches, rather than precision chewing. Its digestive system, like other sauropods, would have been massive, designed to process large volumes of coarse plant material through fermentation in large gut chambers. The presence of gastroliths, or stomach stones, found in association with other sauropods, suggests Supersaurus may have also swallowed stones to aid in grinding its food. The existence of Supersaurus underscores the incredible evolutionary potential for gigantism in certain dinosaur lineages. The Diplodocids, in particular, perfected the long-necked, long-tailed body plan. This strategy allowed them to access vast quantities of vegetation, process it efficiently, and potentially deter predators through sheer size. While its exact social behavior remains unknown, it is plausible that Supersaurus, like other large sauropods, lived in herds, or at least gathered in groups, particularly during mating or migration. The sheer energy demands of such a large animal would have required constant foraging, making social living potentially advantageous for resource discovery and collective defense. The long neck, though seemingly cumbersome, likely allowed it to sweep a large feeding area without moving its body, conserving energy. The relative slenderness of its build compared to later titanosaurs may reflect a different evolutionary path to gigantism, emphasizing length over robust bulk. The discovery of Supersaurus continues to inspire awe and curiosity about the limits of size in terrestrial animals. Diplodocus is one of the most iconic and easily recognizable sauropod dinosaurs, renowned for its extremely long neck and an even longer whip-like tail. It lived during the late Jurassic period, approximately 154 million to 147 million years ago, primarily in what is now Western North America, within the Morrison Formation. The name Diplodocus means double beam, referring to the distinctive double beam chevron bones found on the underside of its tail vertebrae, which provided extra support and protection. First described by Othniel Charles Marsh in 1878, Diplodocus quickly became a symbol of the dinosaur rush, and a staple in natural history museums worldwide. Diplodocus was a colossal animal, typically reaching lengths of 24 to 27 meters, 79 to 89 feet, with some specimens possibly exceeding 30 meters, 98 feet. Despite its immense length, it was relatively lightly built compared to the titanosaurs that emerged later in the Cretaceous period. Its estimated weight ranged from 10 to 16 tons, considerably less than its more robust contemporaries like Apatosaurus or later giants like Argentinosaurus. This slender construction was a key feature of its body plan, contributing to its graceful appearance despite its size. Its neck was long and relatively stiff at the base, becoming more flexible towards the head, allowing it to browse across a wide arc of vegetation. The most distinctive feature of Diplodocus was its exceptionally long tail, which often accounted for more than half of its total body length. Comprising as many as 80 caudal vertebrae, the tail tapered to a thin, flexible end. This elongated, whip-like tail is believed to have served multiple functions. One widely accepted hypothesis is that it was used as a defensive weapon. Swinging such a massive tail at high speed could have delivered a powerful, stunning blow to a predator, deterring attacks. Calculations suggest the tip of the tail could have broken the sound barrier, creating a loud, cracking noise similar to a bullwhip. This sound might have been used for communication within the herd or as a warning signal. Beyond defense, the tail also played a crucial role in Diplodocus's locomotion and balance. It acted as a counterbalance to the long neck, helping to stabilize the animal as it moved. The tail's mass distribution would have shifted the center of gravity towards the rear, which could have allowed Diplodocus to occasionally rear up on its hind legs, using its tail as a prop to reach higher vegetation. However, sustained bipedal posture for feeding is generally not supported by the evidence, as the stresses on its skeletal structure would have been immense. The chevron bones beneath the tail vertebrae provided protection for the blood vessels and nerves when the tail was swung or rested on the ground, indicating its active use. The habitat of Diplodocus was the semi-arid floodplains and scattered forests of the Morrison Formation. Its peg-like teeth were designed for stripping leaves from branches, rather than chewing or grinding tough plant material. This suggests it primarily fed on softer vegetation, such as ferns, cycads, and possibly riparian trees, rather than tough conifers. Like other sauropods, it would have swallowed stones, gastroliths, to aid in grinding food in its massive gut. Its feeding strategy likely involved sweeping its head side to side, efficiently stripping leaves from branches within its reach. Diplodocus was likely a herd animal. Fossil evidence, including multiple bone beds where many individuals of different ages are found together, supports the idea of gregarious behavior. Living in herds would have offered several advantages, including increased protection against large predators like Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus, and potentially aiding in migration to new feeding grounds. Footprint tracks also provide insights into their gait. Diplodocus had sprawling forelimbs and more column-like hind limbs, resulting in a somewhat pigeon-toed stance. Its locomotion was ponderous but efficient for covering long distances in search of food. The relative lightness of Diplodocus's build, despite its length, is a key difference from other giant sauropods. Its vertebrae were often hollowed out, pluricoelous, making them lighter without sacrificing strength. This adaptation, common among sauropods, reduced the overall weight that its skeleton had to support. This lighter build may have contributed to its ability to attain such extreme lengths, while maintaining maneuverability for its body type. The unique features of Diplodocus, its incredibly long whip-like tail, slender body, and efficient browse adaptations, make it a remarkable example of specialized gigantism in the dinosaur world. An icon of the late Jurassic period, Brachiosaurus is one of the most recognizable and distinctive sauropod dinosaurs, famous for its towering height and giraffe-like posture. It lived during the late Jurassic period, approximately 154 million to 150 million years ago in what is now North America. The name Brachiosaurus means arm lizard, referring to its unusually long forelimbs, which are longer than its hind limbs. This unique limb proportion sets it apart from most other sauropods, which typically have longer hind legs. The first partial skeleton of Brachiosaurus altithorax was discovered in 1900 by Elmer S. Riggs in the Morrison Formation of western Colorado, United States. What makes Brachiosaurus stand out is its extraordinary height, making it one of the tallest land animals to have ever lived. Its distinctive limb proportions, combined with a steeply inclined back and a long neck held relatively upright, allowed it to reach impressive heights. Estimates suggest Brachiosaurus stood approximately 13 to 16 meters, 43 to 53 feet, tall at the head, with some reaching up to 18 meters, 59 feet. Its body length was around 20 to 22 meters, 66 to 72 feet, and its weight is estimated to have been between 28 and 58 tons. This makes it a massive animal, though not necessarily the longest or heaviest sauropod. Its height was its defining characteristic. The long forelimbs and tall stance of Brachiosaurus are clear adaptations for high brows. Unlike other sauropods that may have primarily fed on ground-level or mid-level vegetation, Brachiosaurus was uniquely suited to strip leaves from the tops of tall trees. Its neck, while long, was not as flexible as that of Diplodocus. Instead, it was more vertically oriented, allowing for efficient access to elevated foliage. This feeding strategy would have reduced competition with lower browse herbivores and provided access to a vast untouched food source in the high canopy. Its broad, spatulate teeth were well suited for cropping or stripping leaves and needles from branches, rather than grinding. The anatomy of Brachiosaurus supports its high browse lifestyle. Its neck vertebrae were relatively short and robust compared to those of Diplodocus, and they formed a more vertical column. The unique structure of its shoulder girdle and the powerful muscles attached to its tall neural spines would have been necessary to support and lift its massive neck and head. The nostrils of Brachiosaurus were located on top of its head, above its eyes, which led to early theories that it spent much of its time submerged in water, using its nostrils as a snorkel. However, modern scientific understanding rejects this hypothesis. The immense pressure of water at depth would have crushed its lungs, and its bone structure indicates a terrestrial, not aquatic existence. The high nostrils were likely an adaptation related to its high browse head posture. The climate and environment in which Brachiosaurus lived were typical of the Morrison Formation, characterized by seasonal rainfall, extensive floodplains, and vast forests of conifers, cycads, and ferns. Its large size would have required enormous quantities of plant food daily. Like other sauropods, Brachiosaurus would have possessed a massive digestive system, relying on fermentation to break down tough plant fibers. The presence of gastroliths, or stomach stones, found in association with other sauropods, suggests Brachiosaurus may have also swallowed stones to aid in mechanical digestion. A closely related and often confused species, Giraffatitan branchi, from Tanzania, Africa, was initially considered a species of Brachiosaurus. While very similar in form and also extraordinarily tall, Giraffatitan is now recognized as a distinct genus, albeit one that shares many of Brachiosaurus's unique adaptations for high brows. The Giraffatitan specimen displayed in the Museum für Naturkunde in Berlin is often cited as the tallest mounted skeleton in the world. The recognition of Giraffatitan as a separate genus highlights the geographic distribution and subtle evolutionary divergences within the brachiosaurid lineage. The sheer scale of Brachiosaurus implies certain physiological challenges. Pumping blood all the way up to its brain, 13 to 16 meters above its heart, would have required an incredibly powerful cardiovascular system. Its heart would have been massive, possibly weighing hundreds of kilograms, to generate the necessary pressure. Its large body volume to surface area ratio would have made thermoregulation challenging, but its huge size would also mean it would not cool down or heat up quickly, providing thermal inertia. Despite its size, Brachiosaurus would have been vulnerable to the largest theropod predators of its time, such as Allosaurus, particularly as juveniles. However, a full-grown Brachiosaurus would have been a formidable challenge, relying on its immense bulk as its primary defense. Its unique towering silhouette makes Brachiosaurus an enduring symbol of dinosaur gigantism and a testament to evolutionary specialization. Giraffatitan branchi was a colossal sauropod dinosaur that roamed the Earth during the late Jurassic period, approximately 154 million to 150 million years ago. It is frequently confused with Brachiosaurus, a closely related genus. For many years, Giraffatitan was considered a species within the Brachiosaurus genus, Brachiosaurus branchi, but scientific studies in the early 2000s distinguished it as a separate genus based on significant anatomical differences, particularly in the shape of its skull and the proportions of its vertebrae. Its name, Giraffatitan, fittingly means giraffe titan, a clear reference to its towering height and neck that resembled a giraffe's. This dinosaur was one of the tallest animals to have ever lived. Its most distinctive feature was its steeply inclined back, which sloped upwards from the hips to the shoulders, creating a giraffe-like posture. This unique body plan was a result of its front legs being significantly longer than its hind legs. This anatomical arrangement is a key characteristic that sets Giraffatitan apart from most other sauropods, which typically had hind legs as long as or longer than their front legs, resulting in a more level or downward sloping back. The estimated height of Giraffatitan at the shoulder was about 6 meters, and its head, when fully raised, could have reached an astonishing 13 to 15 meters above the ground. This made it a specialized high-level browser. The skull of Giraffatitan was relatively small in proportion to its immense body. It possessed a distinctive arching snout with the nasal openings positioned high on the skull above the eyes. This feature, along with hollow spaces in its skull bones, lightened the head. Its teeth were spatulate, meaning they were spoon-shaped, and were suitable for stripping leaves from branches rather than grinding tough vegetation. This type of dentition, combined with its towering height, strongly indicates a diet focused on high-growing foliage, such as conifers and cycads. Its long, muscular neck contained 13 elongated cervical vertebrae, which were relatively sturdy to support the head and neck in an elevated position. These vertebrae had hollow spaces, called pleurocoils, which helped to lighten the neck while maintaining structural integrity. The adaptations for high brows in Giraffatitan were extensive. Its unique limb proportions allowed it to reach vegetation that was inaccessible to shorter sauropods and other herbivores. While many sauropods are thought to have been generalist feeders, Giraffatitan's specialized anatomy suggests it occupied a specific ecological niche, minimizing direct competition with other large herbivores that fed at lower levels. This vertical feeding strategy would have allowed Giraffatitan to exploit a vast untapped food resource. Its sheer height would also have provided it with an excellent vantage point, possibly aiding in spotting predators like Allosaurus or Ceratosaurus from a distance. The famous fossil remains of Giraffatitan were discovered in the Tendaguru Formation in German East Africa, now Tanzania, during expeditions led by German paleontologists in the early 20th century, specifically between 1909 and 1912. The most complete and well-known specimen, sometimes referred to as the Berlin Brachiosaurus, is mounted in the Museum für Naturkunde in Berlin, Germany. This skeleton stands as one of the tallest mounted skeletons in the world and has been a primary source of information about this magnificent dinosaur. The Tendaguru Formation represents a coastal or deltaic environment from the late Jurassic, indicating that Giraffatitan lived in areas with abundant plant life and access to water, Estimating the weight of Giraffatitan has been challenging due to the incomplete nature of fossil records and the complexities of scaling up from bones. Early estimates were often very high, but more recent calculations using advanced modelling techniques that account for air sacs within the skeleton suggest a more conservative weight range. Current estimates place its mass between 23 and 37 metric tons. Its large size would have necessitated an enormous intake of food daily, likely hundreds of kilograms of plant material to sustain its metabolism. The logistics of processing such quantities of food would have required a constantly active digestive system. The circulatory system of Giraffatitan would have faced significant challenges due to its immense height. Pumping blood up to a head positioned 13 to 15 meters above its heart would have required an incredibly powerful heart and specialized physiological adaptations to prevent blood pooling in the lower body or excessive pressure in the head when lowered. While no direct evidence of its heart exists, anatomical studies suggest a sophisticated circulatory system capable of overcoming gravity. Similarly, its respiratory system likely incorporated a bird-like system of air sacs connected to its lungs, allowing for efficient oxygen intake and reduced bone density, which would have lightened its overall weight. Despite its size, Giraffatitan probably moved at a relatively slow pace. Its pillar-like legs were designed for support and endurance rather than speed. Footprints discovered in association with similar sauropods suggest a wide stance and a steady, deliberate gait. While adult Giraffatitan would have been largely invulnerable to predation due to their enormous size, juveniles would have been more susceptible to attacks from large carnivorous dinosaurs. The towering height of the adults might have offered some protection to the younger members of a herd, allowing them to browse safely under the adults' watchful presence. The distinct morphology of Giraffatitan highlights the principle of niche partitioning in ancient ecosystems. Its unique ability to reach high vegetation would have allowed it to coexist with other large herbivores by utilizing different food sources. This specialization is a testament to the evolutionary pressures that shaped the diverse and immense dinosaur fauna of the late Jurassic. The study of Giraffatitan continues to provide valuable insights into the biomechanics, physiology, and ecological roles of the largest land animals in Earth's history, shedding light on how such titans managed to thrive. Mamenchisaurus is a genus of sauropod dinosaur that lived in what is now East Asia during the late Jurassic period, approximately 160 million to 145 million years ago. It is renowned for possessing the longest neck relative to its body size of any known dinosaur, and possibly any animal that has ever lived. The name Mamenchisaurus means Mamenchi lizard, referring to the Mamenchi ferry crossing in Sichuan province, China, near where its first fossil was discovered. The most striking feature of Mamenchisaurus was its extraordinarily elongated neck, which could reach lengths of up to 15 meters in some species. This immense neck was composed of up to 19 cervical vertebrae, a remarkably high number compared to the typical 13 to 15 vertebrae found in most other long-necked sauropods. Each of these vertebrae was greatly elongated, and their internal structure was highly pneumatized, meaning they contained numerous air sacs. These air sacs, extensions of the respiratory system, significantly reduced the weight of the neck while maintaining its structural integrity, a crucial adaptation for supporting such an immense structure. The length of the neck in Mamenchisaurus posed significant physiological challenges. Pumping blood to the brain, located at the end of such a long neck, would have required an incredibly powerful heart, generating immense blood pressure. Scientists debate how this was achieved, with theories ranging from a series of auxiliary hearts along the neck to a single, exceptionally strong heart. Preventing blood from rushing to the head when the neck was lowered, or pooling in the lower parts of the neck when raised, would also have required sophisticated vascular mechanisms, such as one-way valves and specialized muscle contractions. The musculature and ligament system supporting the neck were equally complex. Strong neutral ligaments would have run along the top of the cervical vertebrae, acting like a suspension bridge to help hold the neck aloft without constant muscular effort. Powerful neck muscles would have been necessary for precise movements, especially for foraging. The neural spines on the vertebrae, where muscles and ligaments attached, were well developed, indicating robust support. Despite its length, the neck of Mamenchisaurus was likely not as flexible as often depicted. The interlocking nature of the elongated vertebrae would have limited lateral movement, suggesting that the neck was primarily used for vertical and sweeping motions rather than tight turns. The primary benefit of such an extreme neck length for Mamenchisaurus was undoubtedly its feeding strategy. Its height allowed it to access vegetation at various levels, from ground cover to the tops of tall trees, providing a vast feeding envelope without moving its massive body. This made it an efficient browser capable of clearing large areas of foliage before needing to take many steps. This reach and graze strategy would have minimized energy expenditure associated with locomotion, a significant advantage for an animal of its size. Different neck lengths among Mamenchisaurus species might also indicate niche partitioning, allowing different species to exploit different vegetation heights in shared environments. Mamenchisaurus was not just a neck. The rest of its body was proportionally large, supporting the massive neck and tail. Its total length could reach 26 to 35 meters, making it one of the longest known dinosaurs. Its body was robust, supported by 4 pillar-like legs. The tail was also long, acting as a counterbalance to the neck and likely providing stability during movement. While not as heavy as some titanosaurs, its estimated weight would have been in the range of 25 to 30 tons. Fossils of Mamenchisaurus have been found exclusively in China, particularly in the Sichuan Basin, suggesting it was an endemic genus to that region. The geological formations where its remains are found indicate lush, humid environments during the late Jurassic, with abundant plant life to sustain such large herbivores. The discovery of multiple species within the genus, showing variations in neck length and overall size, highlights the evolutionary success of this unique body plan in its specific geographical context. The study of Mamenchisaurus continues to provide critical insights into the biomechanics and physiology of giant sauropods. Scientists use engineering principles and computer modeling to understand how its skeleton and muscles managed the stresses of its immense neck. These studies help to reconstruct its posture, range of motion, and feeding behaviors. The unique anatomy of Mamenchisaurus challenges our understanding of biological limits and showcases the extreme evolutionary paths life can take in response to environmental opportunities. Its extraordinary neck remains a marvel of natural engineering, a testament to the diverse and often bizarre forms that once roamed Earth's prehistoric landscapes. Apatosaurus is one of the most iconic and recognizable sauropod dinosaurs, renowned for its immense size and powerful build. It lived during the late Jurassic period, approximately 155 million to 150 million years ago, in what is now Western North America. For many years, Apatosaurus was more commonly known as Brontosaurus, meaning thunder lizard, a name that perfectly captured its massive presence and likely ground-shaking footsteps. While Brontosaurus has recently been reinstated as a valid genus for certain species, Apatosaurus remains a distinct and equally impressive sauropod. Apatosaurus was a truly colossal animal, reaching lengths of up to 23 meters and weighing an estimated 16 to 22 metric tons. Its body was robust and muscular, significantly more heavily built than its contemporary, the more slender Diplodocus. This powerful construction is reflected in its bone structure. Its vertebrae were solid and strongly reinforced, especially in the hips and tail. The limbs were thick and pillar-like, designed to support its considerable weight. Its hind limbs were longer than its forelimbs, giving Apatosaurus a slightly downward-sloping back, unlike the upward slope seen in Brachiosaurus or Giraffatitan. The skull of Apatosaurus was relatively small compared to its massive body, similar to other sauropods. Its teeth were spatulate, suitable for stripping leaves from branches, indicating a herbivorous diet focused on foliage. Early reconstructions of Apatosaurus often mistakenly used the skull of Camarasaurus, leading to a long-standing error. The correct Apatosaurus skull, which is more elongated and horse-like with its distinct nasal openings, was only correctly identified much later in the 20th century. This correction was a key factor in distinguishing Apatosaurus from its perceived Brontosaurus identity before Brontosaurus was independently re-evaluated. The neck of Apatosaurus was long and thick, composed of 15 powerful cervical vertebrae. While not as extremely long as that of Mamenchisaurus, or as vertically oriented as Brachiosaurus, it was still capable of reaching a significant range of vegetation. Its powerful musculature allowed for effective movement of the neck for feeding. The tail was exceptionally long and robust, accounting for a significant portion of its total body length. It tapered to a relatively slender whip-like end. This tail likely served multiple purposes, as a counterbalance to the massive neck and body, as a potential defensive weapon capable of delivering a sonic crack or forceful blow, and possibly for communication within a herd. Apatosaurus inhabited lush, semi-arid floodplains and forested areas of late Jurassic North America, as evidenced by fossil finds in the Morrison Formation, a rich source of dinosaur fossils spanning Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, and Oklahoma. This environment was characterized by seasonal rainfall, extensive river systems, and diverse plant life, including conifers, cycads, and ferns. Its large size would have made it largely impervious to predation once fully grown, although juvenile Apatosaurus would have been vulnerable to large theropods such as Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus. The powerful build of Apatosaurus suggests a more grounded lifestyle compared to some of its taller sauropod relatives. Its broad chest and robust limb bones indicate a capacity for powerful movement across varied terrains. While not fast, its sheer momentum would have made it an unstoppable force. Its massive weight created significant footprints, which have been discovered in trackways, indicating that Apatosaurus likely moved in herds or family groups. These trackways show a wide gauge, meaning the feet on either side were far apart, consistent with its broad body. The re-evaluation of Brontosaurus as a distinct genus in 2015 by a team of paleontologists, based on detailed anatomical comparisons, brought renewed public attention to these magnificent sauropods. While Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus are now considered separate, they both represent the pinnacle of sauropod evolution in terms of robust build and immense scale during the Jurassic. The ongoing study of Apatosaurus continues to provide valuable insights into the biomechanics of large dinosaurs, their feeding strategies, social behaviors, and their crucial role in shaping the ecosystems of the late Jurassic period. Its enduring popularity reflects the awe and wonder inspired by the sheer power and scale of these thunder lizards. Camarasaurus was a genus of sauropod dinosaur that lived during the late Jurassic period, approximately 155 million to 145 million years ago. Its name, meaning chambered lizard, refers to the hollow chambers in its vertebrae, a common feature among sauropods designed to lighten their massive skeletons. While not reaching the extreme lengths of some of its contemporaries like Diplodocus or Supersaurus, Camarasaurus was still a very large animal, typically growing to about 18 meters, 60 feet in length, and weighing around 20 tons. Its robust build, shorter neck, and distinctive skull set it apart from other long-necked dinosaurs of its time. One of the most defining features of Camarasaurus was its skull and dentition, which indicated a unique feeding strategy among sauropods. Unlike the slender, peg-like teeth of Diplodocus, or the absence of teeth in the front of the mouth seen in some brachiosaurids, Camarasaurus possessed broad, spoon-shaped teeth. These teeth were robust and well-suited for shearing or crushing tough plant material. They were present along the entire length of its jaws, forming a more complete dental battery than found in many other sauropods. This suggests that Camarasaurus engaged in a more active form of oral processing of its food, rather than simply stripping leaves or swallowing vegetation whole. The skull of Camarasaurus was relatively short and deep compared to the elongated, horse-like skulls of diplodocids. Its snout was blunt, and its nostrils were positioned high on its head near its eyes. This high placement of nostrils was once thought to indicate a semi-aquatic lifestyle, with the dinosaur submerging its body and breathing through the top of its head, but this idea has largely been dismissed. The current understanding is that the high nostril placement was likely related to the musculature and structure of its large, powerful jaws, which were designed for processing fibrous plant matter. The robust nature of its skull and jaws, combined with its specialized teeth, allowed Camarasaurus to consume a wider variety of plant material, including tougher, more fibrous vegetation that other sauropods might have avoided. This would have included coarser leaves, twigs, and possibly even bark, rather than just soft ferns or cycads. The feeding strategy of Camarasaurus involved biting off large mouthfuls of vegetation and then using its strong teeth to shear or crush the material before swallowing. This contrasts with the feeding methods of diplodocids, which likely used their peg-like teeth to strip leaves from branches, swallowing them with minimal chewing. The ability to process food more thoroughly in the mouth would have aided digestion, potentially allowing Camarasaurus to extract more nutrients from its diet. This adaptation might have given it a competitive advantage in environments where tough, abundant vegetation was available. The neck of Camarasaurus was shorter and thicker than that of many other sauropods, consisting of 12 relatively short, stout vertebrae. While still long enough to reach high into trees, it was not designed for the extreme reach seen in Brachiosaurus or Mamenchisaurus. Instead, its neck was more suited for powerful movements, enabling it to sweep its head through vegetation or pull down branches. This suggests that Camarasaurus was likely a mid to high browser, feeding on plants at various levels from ground cover up to several meters high, but perhaps not the very highest canopy. Its strong neck muscles would have facilitated this versatile browsing. Fossil evidence of Camarasaurus is abundant, particularly in the Morrison Formation of western North America. This geological formation is famous for its rich dinosaur fossil sites, including quarries in Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. The Morrison Formation represents a semi-arid environment with floodplains, rivers, and occasional lakes, supporting a diverse array of plant life. The widespread presence of Camarasaurus fossils indicates that it was a common and successful herbivore in this ecosystem. Its remains are often found alongside those of other well-known dinosaurs such as Allosaurus, Ceratosaurus, Stegosaurus, and other sauropods like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus. The postcranial skeleton of Camarasaurus was robust and heavily built. Its limbs were sturdy, and its overall posture was more compact than the elongated forms of some other sauropods. Its forelimbs and hind limbs were roughly equal in length, giving it a more level back compared to the steeply sloping back of Brachiosaurus. This body plan would have provided stability for its powerful chewing actions and for navigating varied terrain. The presence of large, chambered vertebrae helped to reduce the overall weight of the skeleton, while maintaining structural integrity, a crucial adaptation for supporting such a massive body. Saltasaurus was a genus of titanosaurian sauropod dinosaur that lived during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 83 million to 72 million years ago. Its name, meaning lizard from Salta, refers to the Salta province of Argentina, where its fossils were first discovered. While not among the largest titanosaurs, Saltasaurus was a significant discovery because it provided the first definitive evidence that some sauropods possessed bony armor embedded in their skin. This unique defensive adaptation set it apart from most other long-necked dinosaurs and offered crucial insights into the evolutionary pressures faced by these giant herbivores. Saltasaurus was a moderately sized sauropod, reaching lengths of about 12 to 13 meters, 40 to 43 feet, and weighing an estimated 7 to 10 tons. This was considerably smaller than the colossal titanosaurs like Argentinosaurus or Patagotitan. Despite its relatively modest size for a sauropod, its most remarkable feature was its osteoderms, which are bony plates or nodules embedded within the skin. These osteoderms varied in size and shape, ranging from small bead-like nodules just a few millimeters across to larger flattened plates several centimeters in diameter. They were not fused to the skeleton, but were instead embedded in the dermal layer of the skin, forming a flexible protective mosaic over much of its body, particularly its back and flanks. The discovery of these osteoderms in association with Saltasaurus skeletons was groundbreaking. Before this, it was generally assumed that sauropods relied primarily on their immense size, herd behavior, or powerful tails for defense against predators. The presence of armor in Saltasaurus indicated an additional, and perhaps more direct form of protection. This armor would have provided a significant deterrent against the teeth and claws of the large carnivorous dinosaurs, such as abelisaurids like Carnotaurus, which were prominent predators in late Cretaceous South America. While not impenetrable, the osteoderms would have made it much harder for a predator to inflict a fatal bite or tear into the flesh of Saltasaurus. The arrangement and density of the osteoderms likely varied across the body of Saltasaurus. The larger plates may have been concentrated along the spine, providing maximum protection to vital organs, while the smaller nodules could have provided more widespread, flexible coverage. This type of dermal armor is more commonly associated with other dinosaur groups, such as ankylosaurs and nodosaurids, where it formed a more extensive and often fused shield. In Saltasaurus, The armor was less rigid, allowing for greater flexibility of movement while still offering substantial protection. The defensive strategy of Saltasaurus likely combined its armor with other behaviors. While its size was not as overwhelming as that of the supergiant Titanosaurs, it was still a large animal, capable of deterring many predators. If attacked, its armor would have been its primary line of defense, making it a less appealing target. The presence of armor also suggests that Saltasaurus might have faced significant predatory pressure in its environment. The late Cretaceous ecosystems of South America were home to formidable theropods, and any adaptation that increased survival chances would have been highly advantageous. The fossil record of Saltasaurus is relatively well preserved, with several individuals found, including partial skeletons and numerous osteoderms. These discoveries have allowed paleontologists to reconstruct its anatomy and infer its lifestyle with a good degree of confidence. The remains of Saltasaurus have been found in geological formations that represent semi-arid environments, with braided rivers and floodplains, similar to the habitats of many other titanosaurs. This suggests that Saltasaurus was a terrestrial herbivore, feeding on the vegetation available in these landscapes. The presence of armor in Saltasaurus also raises questions about its evolutionary relationships with other titanosaurs. While dermal armor is not universally present in all titanosaur species, its discovery in Saltasaurus led to investigations into other titanosaur fossils, revealing that some other species also possessed osteoderms, though perhaps not as prominently. This suggests that the development of armor was a recurring or widespread evolutionary trait within certain titanosaur lineages, possibly in response to similar predatory pressures. The diversity in armor types and coverage among titanosaurs indicates a range of defensive strategies evolved within this successful group. In conclusion, Saltasaurus stands out as a unique and important sauropod due to its distinctive bony armor. This defensive adaptation provided a crucial layer of protection against predators in the late Cretaceous. Its discovery revolutionized our understanding of sauropod defense, demonstrating that not all long-necked dinosaurs relied solely on size for survival. Saltasaurus exemplifies the evolutionary ingenuity within the titanosaur group, showcasing how these giant herbivores adapted to their environments through a variety of remarkable features. Titanosaurs represent the most diverse and successful group of sauropod dinosaurs, dominating terrestrial ecosystems across the globe during the Cretaceous period, from approximately 145 million to 66 million years ago. Their name, derived from the mythical Titans, reflects their often colossal size, with many species ranking among the largest land animals to have ever lived. However, their true significance lies not just in their size but in their remarkable evolutionary radiation, leading to a wide array of forms, adaptations, and global distribution. Titanosaurs evolved from earlier sauropod lineages during the Jurassic period, but it was in the Cretaceous that they truly flourished. They became the dominant large herbivores on nearly every continent, filling ecological niches that had previously been occupied by other sauropod groups like Diplodocids and Brachiosaurids, which largely declined or went extinct by the mid-Cretaceous. Their success can be attributed to a combination of factors, including their adaptability to various environments, efficient feeding strategies, and potentially improved reproductive rates. One of the most striking aspects of titanosaur diversity is their sheer range and size. While species like Argentinosaurus and Patagotitan reached lengths of over 35 meters, 115 feet, and weights exceeding 70 tons, making them the heaviest land animals known, other titanosaurs were much smaller. For example, Mamenchisaurus from Europe was a dwarf titanosaur, only about 6 meters, 20 feet, long, an adaptation to island environments where resources were limited. This wide size range demonstrates their adaptability to different ecological pressures and resource availability. Their skeletal features also varied significantly. While generally characterized by robust pillar-like limbs, broad bodies, and relatively short, deep skulls, specific adaptations differed. Many titanosaurs had unique vertebral structures, including procoelous caudal vertebrae, tailbones that were concave at the front and convex at the back, which provided greater flexibility and strength to their tails. Some species, like Saltasaurus, developed dermal armor, osteoderms, embedded in their skin, providing protection against predators. Others, like Dreadnoughtus, were exceptionally robust, with heavily built skeletons capable of supporting immense weight. The global distribution of titanosaurs is another testament to their success. Their fossils have been found on every continent, including Antarctica, suggesting they were highly effective dispersers. During the Cretaceous, the supercontinent Pangaea was breaking apart, leading to the formation of new land masses and oceans. Titanosaurs were able to colonize these newly isolated continents, evolving into distinct regional forms. For example, the giant titanosaurs like Argentinosaurus and Patagotitan are primarily known from South America, while smaller armoured forms like Saltasaurus also hail from the same continent. India, which was an island continent during the late Cretaceous, had its own unique titanosaurs, such as Supersaurus. Africa, Europe, Asia and North America also yield diverse titanosaur remains, showcasing their widespread presence. Feeding strategies among titanosaurs also showed diversity. While all were herbivores, the specific types of plants they consumed and how they processed them likely varied. Their broad, spoon-shaped teeth, similar to those of Camarasaurus, suggest they were capable of cropping and processing a wide range of vegetation, including tough, fibrous plants. The evolution of flowering plants, angiosperms, during the Cretaceous may have also influenced their diets, providing new food sources. Some titanosaurs, with their high-browsing adaptations, likely fed on tall trees, while others might have been more generalist feeders, consuming vegetation at various heights. Reproduction and social behavior also contribute to our understanding of titanosaur diversity. Fossilized nesting sites, such as those found in Alcamahuevo, Argentina, provide evidence of colonial nesting behavior, where many females laid their eggs in communal areas. The eggs themselves vary in size and shell structure among different titanosaur species. The discovery of embryonic remains within some eggs has provided unprecedented insights into their early development and growth rates. While direct evidence for herd behavior is challenging to ascertain definitively, the presence of multiple individuals at nesting sites and in bone beds suggests that at least some titanosaur species lived in groups. The evolutionary success of titanosaurs throughout the Cretaceous period made them the dominant large herbivores until the very end of the Mesozoic era. Their ability to adapt to changing environments, colonize new land masses, and evolve a wide range of sizes and defensive features allowed them to thrive for tens of millions of years. Their eventual extinction, along with all other non-avian dinosaurs, came with the asteroid impact event at the end of the Cretaceous. The incredible diversity of titanosaurs underscores their importance in understanding the ecology and evolution of giant land animals during the final chapter of the Age of Dinosaurs. Sauropods, the iconic long-necked, long-tailed dinosaurs, were the largest land animals to ever live. Their immense size necessitated an equally immense diet. These dinosaurs were obligate herbivores, meaning their entire diet consisted of plant matter. The sheer volume of plant material they had to consume daily to fuel their enormous bodies was staggering, estimated to be hundreds of kilograms, possibly even over 1,000 kilograms for the larger species. This vast consumption shaped their anatomy, behavior, and the ecosystems they inhabited. Their feeding mechanisms varied among different sauropod groups, reflecting adaptations to specific types of vegetation available in the Mesozoic era. Early sauropods and more primitive forms often had broader spoon-shaped teeth. These teeth were suitable for processing a wider range of plants, including ferns, cycads, and ginkgos that dominated the Jurassic landscape. Dinosaurs like Camarasaurus possessed such teeth, capable of more effective chewing than their later relatives. The jaw muscles of Camarasaurus were relatively strong, allowing for some grinding action, which helped break down fibrous plant material before it entered the digestive system. This form of feeding suggests they were generalist browsers, able to exploit various plant sources. In contrast, many later, more specialized sauropods, particularly the diplodocids like Diplodocus and Apatosaurus, evolved very slender, peg-like teeth, located mostly at the front of their mouths. These teeth were not designed for chewing or grinding. Instead, they functioned primarily as rakes or combs to strip leaves from branches. The forward-facing orientation of these teeth would have allowed them to efficiently strip foliage from plants in a scissor-like motion. Evidence from fossil teeth wear patterns supports this idea, showing abrasion consistent with plucking or stripping rather than crushing. This specialized feeding mechanism suggests these sauropods were selective browsers, focusing on softer, easily detached leaves and shoots, perhaps from tall conifers or other high-growing vegetation that other herbivores couldn't reach. Titanosaurs, a diverse group of sauropods prominent in the Cretaceous period, exhibited a range of dental adaptations. Some titanosaurs retained broader teeth, while others developed slender teeth, similar to diplodocids. This variety suggests that titanosaurs occupied a broader range of feeding niches. Their wide-gaping mouths and robust necks would have allowed them to efficiently strip vast quantities of leaves, regardless of tooth shape. The structure of their skulls also suggests a relatively weak bite force compared to predatory dinosaurs, reinforcing the idea that their teeth were for stripping rather than powerful chewing. The enormous necks of sauropods played a crucial role in their feeding strategies. For dinosaurs like Brachiosaurus and Giraffatitan, their upwardly angled necks and longer front limbs allowed them to reach vegetation high off the ground, essentially acting as giant biological cranes. This adaptation enabled them to exploit food sources inaccessible to other herbivores, potentially reducing competition. In contrast, dinosaurs like Diplodocus had necks that were more horizontally oriented, suggesting they were adapted for sweeping motions to browse a wide area of low-lying vegetation or reaching into stands of trees. Recent research, however, indicates that even sauropods with horizontally held necks could raise their heads to some degree, providing flexibility in their feeding height. The sheer scale of their feeding operations had a profound impact on the Mesozoic landscapes. Sauropods were effectively living lawnmowers and tree pruners, shaping the vegetation structure of forests and open plains. Their constant browse and stripping would have prevented certain plant species from dominating, and likely encouraged the growth of fast-reproducing plants. They facilitated seed dispersal through their waste products, acting as ecological engineers of their time. Their feeding activities directly influenced plant evolution and the distribution of different plant communities. Despite their different tooth structures and feeding postures, a commonality among all sauropods was the need to ingest massive amounts of food. This constant intake meant that they likely spent the majority of their waking hours eating. Their large gut capacity was essential to process the low-nutrient, high-fiber plant material. This continuous grazing pressure meant that the environments they inhabited needed to support a vast and rapidly regenerating supply of vegetation. The lush fern prairies and conifer forests of the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods provided the necessary biomass to sustain these colossal herbivores. The evidence for sauropod diets comes from various sources. Fossilized teeth provide clues about their primary feeding actions, where patterns on the tooth surfaces, ranging from grinding facets to scratches, indicate the type of plants processed. The structure of their jaws and the attachments for jaw muscles also give insights into their bite force and chewing motions. Furthermore, fossilized plant remains found in the same geological layers as sauropod bones, or even within coprolites, fossilized dung, offer direct evidence of the plants they consumed. Chemical analysis of tooth enamel, though more challenging, can sometimes provide further clues about their dietary preferences and the types of plants they ingested. The evolution of different feeding strategies among sauropods allowed them to diversify and coexist in various ecosystems across different continents and time periods. From the high-browsed Brachiosaurids to the ground-sweeping Diplodocids and the varied Titanosaurs, their specialized diets enabled them to efficiently exploit the abundant plant resources of the Mesozoic, fueling their growth to unprecedented sizes and ensuring their reign as Earth's largest land animals for over 100 million years. The immense size of sauropods, requiring hundreds of kilograms of daily plant intake, meant their digestive systems were highly specialized and remarkably efficient. Unlike mammals, sauropods did not chew their food thoroughly in their mouths. Instead, their digestion largely relied on a process called fermentation, carried out by microbes within their vast gut. This process is similar to what occurs in modern ruminants like cows, but scaled up to an enormous degree. The initial processing of food by sauropods varied depending on their dental adaptations. As discussed, some sauropods like Camarasaurus had broader teeth capable of some grinding, but this was still limited compared to mammalian chewing. Other sauropods, such as Diplodocus, had peg-like teeth designed for stripping leaves. Regardless of the initial method, The plant material entered the digestive tract in relatively large, unchewed or coarsely chewed pieces. To aid in the mechanical breakdown of this tough plant matter, many sauropods are believed to have used gastroliths, or stomach stones. These smooth, rounded stones are sometimes found associated with sauropod skeletons, particularly in the ribcage area where the stomach would have been located. The hypothesis is that these stones, swallowed by the dinosaur, would grind against the ingested vegetation inside a muscular gizzard-like stomach. This grinding action would physically break down the cellulose and other components of plant cell walls, making them more accessible for microbial fermentation. The gizzard, an organ present in many modern birds and some reptiles, is a strong muscular pouch for grinding food. While a true gizzard like a bird's might not have been present, the principles of mechanical breakdown using gastroliths are considered highly probable for many sauropod species. Once the plant material was sufficiently broken down, it would move into the main fermentation chambers of the sauropod's gut. The enormous body cavity of sauropods allowed for an exceptionally large digestive tract, providing ample space for massive fermentation vats. This is where symbiotic microorganisms, bacteria, archaea, and protozoa would tirelessly work to break down cellulose and other complex carbohydrates into simpler compounds that the dinosaur could absorb. This fermentation process produces volatile fatty acids, which the sauropod would absorb as its primary energy source. The sheer volume of the gut was critical. A larger gut volume meant longer retention times for food, allowing more time for microbes to fully break down the tough plant fibers. This long digestion time would compensate for the relatively poor initial mechanical breakdown in the mouth. It's estimated that a sauropod's digestive tract could have held several cubic meters of plant material at any given time. This continuous processing plant would be constantly churning, extracting nutrients from a low-quality, high-fiber diet. The fermentation process itself generates a significant amount of heat. For animals as large as sauropods, this internal heat generation could have contributed to their thermoregulation, potentially helping them maintain a stable body temperature. This concept, known as gut fermentation heat, suggests that their digestive processes were not just about nutrient extraction, but also played a role in their overall physiology, potentially reducing their reliance on external heat sources, like the sun, to warm their colossal bodies. The byproduct of this fermentation, as in modern herbivores, would have been significant amounts of methane gas. While methane is a potent greenhouse gas, its historical impact during the Mesozoic is a complex area of study, but it is clear that sauropod digestion contributed to the atmospheric composition of their time. Evidence for this digestive model comes from several lines of reasoning. First, the enormous size of sauropods and their herbivorous diet necessitates a highly efficient system for extracting energy from low-quality food. Second, the limited chewing capabilities of many sauropods point towards a reliance on post-ingestion breakdown. Third, the occasional discovery of gastroliths in association with sauropod fossils provides direct evidence of mechanical grinding. Finally, comparative anatomy with modern large herbivores, particularly those that rely on hindgut fermentation, like horses or elephants, offers insights into how such massive digestive systems might have functioned. While sauropods were not true hindgut fermenters in the sense of having a massive cecum and colon like horses, their large overall gut volume likely provided a similar function where fermentation occurred in broad regions of the intestines. The efficiency of their digestive systems allowed sauropods to sustain their immense size on a diet that might seem insufficient for smaller, more metabolically active animals. Their digestive adaptations were as crucial to their success as their long necks or pillar-like legs. This specialized internal machinery enabled them to dominate the terrestrial herbivore niche for over 100 million years, turning vast quantities of Mesozoic vegetation into the largest bodies Earth has ever known. The movement of sauropods, enormous animals weighing tens to perhaps over 100 tons, presented unique biomechanical challenges. Their locomotion was characterized by a ponderous, slow, yet powerful gait, supported by pillar-like legs and massive feet designed to distribute their immense weight. Understanding how these titans moved involves studying their skeletal structure, muscle attachments, trackways, and applying principles of engineering and physics. Sauropod limbs were positioned almost vertically beneath their bodies, much like the legs of an elephant or a rhinoceros, rather than splayed out to the sides like those of most modern reptiles. This pillar-like limb posture was essential for supporting their colossal weight. Their bones, particularly in the limbs, were robust and solid, designed to withstand immense compressive forces. The long bones of the legs, such as the femur and humerus, were thick and straight, minimizing bending stress. The joint surfaces were broad, allowing for large contact areas that effectively distributed pressure. The feet of sauropods were also highly specialized. They were broad and padded, acting like shock absorbers and providing a wide base of support. The toes were generally short and stubby, arranged in a semicircular fashion, which further helped in weight distribution. Evidence from fossilized trackways shows that sauropod footprints were typically round or oval, often very deep, and consistently display a broad, weight-bearing surface. The presence of a substantial soft tissue pad on the sole of the foot, similar to that seen in elephants, is inferred to have further aided in cushioning and spreading weight across the ground. When walking, sauropods likely moved in a diagonal sequence gait, similar to elephants, where opposing limbs, e.g., front left and rear right, move forward in sequence. This gait provides a stable base of support, with at least 2 or 3 feet always on the ground, which is crucial for maintaining balance for such massive animals. The strides would have been long, but the overall speed would have been relatively slow. Estimates for their top speed vary, but most studies suggest a walking pace of around 2 to 4 kilometers per hour. Sustained faster movement would have put enormous stress on their bones and joints, and the energy expenditure would have been prohibitive. Running, in the sense of having all 4 feet off the ground simultaneously, was likely impossible for the largest sauropods due to the immense forces involved. Trackways, fossilized footprints, provide invaluable direct evidence of sauropod locomotion. These natural casts in ancient sediments reveal details about their stride length, foot placement, and even inferences about their speed, and whether they moved individually or in herds. Large sauropod trackways often show relatively narrow gauges, meaning their left and right footprints were relatively close to the midline of their bodies. This suggests that their legs swung beneath their bodies, rather than sprawling outwards, supporting the pillar-like limb posture inference. The absence of tail drag marks in most sauropod trackways indicates that they held their tails off the ground, often balancing their immense neck and head. The tail also played a significant role in locomotion and balance. While often depicted as a passive appendage, the tail, especially in diplodocids, was likely held stiff and aloft, acting as a counterbalance to the long neck and front of the body. This allowed for more efficient weight distribution over their 4 limbs. The powerful muscles attached to the tail also suggest it could have been used for stability during movement and possibly as a defensive whip. The biomechanical challenges of supporting enormous weight extended to every part of their skeleton. Their vertebrae, especially those in the neck and back, were often hollowed out with intricate internal structures, making them lighter while retaining strength. This pneumatic bone structure, filled with air sacs connected to their respiratory system, significantly reduced the overall weight of their colossal skeletons without compromising structural integrity. This was a crucial adaptation for supporting their immense size without becoming too heavy to move. The musculature required to move such massive limbs and maintain posture would have been enormous. Powerful muscles attached to their hips and shoulders provided the necessary force for forward propulsion and stabilization. The sheer volume of muscle mass needed further contributed to their overall body mass, highlighting the continuous feedback loop between size, muscle, bone, and diet. The sheer scale of sauropod dinosaurs, the long-necked, 4-legged giants, raises questions about their social behavior. Did these enormous animals roam alone, or did they live in groups? Evidence from the fossil record, primarily in the form of fossilized trackways and bone beds, strongly suggests that at least some sauropod species exhibited social behavior, living in herds for various reasons, including protection and migration. This collective movement and living arrangement would have had profound implications for their survival and the ecosystems they inhabited. Fossilized trackways provide some of the most compelling evidence for sauropod herding. These ancient footprints, preserved in sedimentary rock, capture moments of movement across prehistoric landscapes. When multiple parallel trackways of similar size and age are found together, moving in the same direction. It indicates that a group of animals was traveling as a unit. One of the most famous examples comes from the Paluxy River in Texas, United States, where numerous sauropod trackways from the early Cretaceous period are preserved. These trackways show several individuals, including both large adults and smaller juveniles, moving together. Such mixed-age groups suggest a family-like or multi-generational herd structure, where younger animals benefited from the protection of larger adults. Another significant trackway site is in Bolivia, South America, featuring hundreds of sauropod footprints from the late Cretaceous. These extensive trackways also indicate group movement, sometimes spanning considerable distances, which supports the idea of migratory behaviour. The consistent spacing and parallel alignment of these tracks are difficult to explain by individual movements or random encounters. They point to coordinated group travel. Bone beds, accumulations of fossilised bones from multiple individuals of the same species found together, offer further evidence of gregarious behaviour. While some bone beds can result from mass mortality events like floods or droughts that trap individuals indiscriminately, others show characteristics consistent with social groups dying together. For example, the Tendaguru Formation in Tanzania, East Africa, a rich Jurassic period fossil site, has yielded numerous bones of sauropods like Giraffatitan, formerly Brachiosaurus branchi, and Diplodocus. While not all bone beds here definitively prove herding, some localized concentrations of multiple individuals suggest that these animals might have lived in groups. Similarly, bone beds in the Morrison Formation of western North America, dating to the late Jurassic period, contain remains of various sauropod species, including Apatosaurus and Camarasaurus. Some of these accumulations are interpreted as evidence of herds congregating, perhaps around dwindling water sources during dry seasons, or simply dying together as a unit. The sheer volume of bones from multiple individuals in a confined area points away from solitary existence for these specific populations. The reasons for sauropods to live in herds are likely multifaceted, driven by the advantages that group living offers to large herbivores. Protection from predators was almost certainly a primary benefit. While a fully grown sauropod would have been an imposing target for even the largest theropod dinosaurs, juveniles, and subadults would have been more vulnerable. Moving in a group would have provided a collective defense mechanism. The sheer size and number of adults in a herd could deter predators, or at least make it harder for a predator to isolate a single individual. The combined vigilance of multiple eyes and ears would also enhance early detection of threats. Although direct evidence of defensive formations is rare, the presence of young animals within adult trackways suggests adults shielded the vulnerable. Migration is another strong driver for herding in large herbivores. Sauropods, with their immense dietary requirements, would have needed to consume vast quantities of plant matter daily. As vegetation resources fluctuated seasonally or regionally, herds would have been compelled to move to new feeding grounds. Long-distance migrations, similar to those undertaken by modern elephants or wildebeest, would have been more efficient and safer for a group than for solitary individuals. Trackways spanning considerable distances support this idea, indicating purposeful, sustained movement across landscapes. The collective memory of a herd, perhaps led by experienced older individuals, could guide them to reliable food and water sources. Foraging efficiency might also have played a role. While it might seem counterintuitive for a group of large animals to forage together given their massive appetites, a herd could potentially locate and exploit widespread food resources more effectively. Different individuals might discover patches of vegetation, and the group could then move to exploit them. However, the primary benefit of herding for sauropods likely revolved around safety and the ability to undertake necessary migrations rather than direct foraging efficiency, as their size meant they could consume almost any available plant matter. Interpretations of herd structure vary. Some trackway evidence suggests age-segregated herds where juveniles and subadults travelled separately from the largest adults. This could be a strategy to protect the young, as smaller individuals might have different movement speeds or dietary needs. Alternatively, it could reflect different social dynamics, with younger animals forming their own groups before integrating into adult herds. Other evidence, like the mixed-age trackways from Paluxy, points to integrated herds. The specific social structure likely varied among different sauropod species, just as it does among modern large mammals. Titanosaurs, a group that includes some of the largest sauropods, appear to have been particularly prone to forming large herds, given the extensive bone beds and trackways attributed to them in South America. The gigantism of sauropods, while offering protection from predators, also presented challenges that herding could mitigate. A large body size requires a vast amount of food, and moving in a group could help ensure continuous access to resources. Herding also implies a certain level of communication and coordination, which, while not directly preserved in the fossil record, would have been necessary for such massive animals to move together without injury or chaos. The very existence of such enormous land animals for tens of millions of years suggests highly successful adaptations, and social behaviour was likely a key component of that success. The evidence, though indirect, paints a consistent picture of at least some sauropods as social animals, traversing their ancient worlds in powerful thundering herds. The reproductive strategies of sauropod dinosaurs, particularly their nesting habits, offer crucial insights into their life cycles, growth, and the challenges faced by these colossal creatures. While direct observation is impossible, the discovery of fossilized nesting sites and eggs has provided a wealth of information about how these giants brought new life into the world. These discoveries reveal a pattern of communal nesting and a likely absence of direct parental care after hatching, a strategy that contrasts sharply with many modern large animals, but aligns with that of many reptiles. One of the most significant sauropod nesting sites ever discovered is Aucamahuevo in Patagonia, Argentina. This site, dating to the late Cretaceous period, has yielded thousands of fossilized sauropod eggs, many containing embryonic remains, spread across multiple distinct nesting horizons. The sheer number of eggs and nests in a relatively confined area strongly suggests that sauropods return to the same location year after year to lay their eggs, indicating a communal nesting ground. This behaviour is seen in some modern reptiles such as sea turtles, which gather on specific beaches to lay their eggs. The Aucamahuevo eggs are generally spherical, about 15 to 20 centimetres in diameter, and have a distinctively thick multi-layered eggshell structure. Some eggs even show evidence of the skin impressions of the tiny embryos inside, providing rare glimpses into the appearance of hatchling sauropods. The nests themselves at Aucamahuevo and other sites were typically simple depressions dug into the ground, often in soft, muddy or sandy substrates. There is little evidence to suggest the construction of elaborate nests or mounds. The eggs were laid in clutches, often in a circular or spiral pattern within these depressions. The number of eggs per clutch varied but could range from perhaps 10 to 30 or more. This large clutch size is a common strategy among animals that do not provide extensive parental care, maximising the chances of at least some offspring surviving. After laying, the eggs were likely covered with sediment, either by the female sauropod or by natural processes, to protect them and provide a stable incubation temperature. The lack of direct parental care after hatching is a widely accepted conclusion based on several lines of evidence. First, the size disparity between hatchling sauropods and their parents was immense. A sauropod hatchling would have been no larger than a small dog or turkey, while its parents weighed many tons. Protecting and feeding such tiny offspring would have been an enormous challenge for the adults. Second, fossil evidence of juvenile sauropods is exceedingly rare at nesting sites. If parents remain to guard their young, one would expect to find juvenile remains or evidence of prolonged occupation by families. Instead, the hatchlings appear to have dispersed quickly from the nesting grounds. Third, the sheer number of eggs laid by sauropods suggests a quantity over quality approach to reproduction. By laying many eggs, the species increased the statistical probability that at least a few individuals would survive the numerous hazards of early life, even without direct parental intervention. Once hatched, the tiny sauropods would have been highly vulnerable to predation from a wide array of carnivorous dinosaurs, including small theropods, crocodiles, and other opportunistic predators. Their rapid growth rate, however, was a key survival strategy. Studies of sauropod bone microstructure indicate extremely fast growth, allowing them to quickly reach sizes that offered more protection from predators. A hatchling sauropod might have grown from a few kilograms to several tons within a few years, rapidly moving through the most vulnerable stages of its life. This fast growth likely required a high metabolic rate and continuous access to abundant food resources. Communal nesting, as seen at Aucamahuevo, would have offered some advantages even without direct parental care. By laying eggs in a concentrated area, sauropods might have benefited from safety in numbers during the vulnerable egg-laying process. It could also have allowed for shared incubation conditions if the collective activity of many nests generated some heat. Furthermore, returning to established nesting grounds could have been a way to ensure suitable environmental conditions for egg development and hatchling survival, such as appropriate soil type, drainage, and vegetation cover. Other sauropod nesting sites have been found in various parts of the world, including France, India, and North America, supporting the idea that communal nesting was a widespread behavior among different sauropod lineages. While the specific details of egg size, shell texture, and nest structure might vary slightly between species, the general pattern of laying numerous eggs in simple ground nests and then leaving the hatchlings to fend for themselves appears to be consistent. The reproductive strategy of sauropods, characterized by high fecundity and rapid growth of offspring, is a testament to the evolutionary pressures they faced. It allowed them to overcome the challenges of immense body size, particularly the difficulty of parental care for such tiny, vulnerable young. This strategy contrasts with that of some other large dinosaurs, such as hadrosaurs, where evidence suggests some level of parental care for juveniles in the nest. For sauropods, the path to gigantism involved outsourcing the early survival of their offspring to sheer numbers and incredibly fast development, ensuring that enough individuals reached adulthood to perpetuate their lineage as the largest land animals Earth has ever seen. Theropods, the two-legged carnivorous dinosaurs, represent some of the most formidable predators to have ever walked the Earth. While many theropods were small to medium-sized, certain lineages evolved to truly colossal proportions, rivaling or even exceeding the length and predatory power of some sauropods. These giant theropods were the apex predators of their ecosystems, shaping the lives of the herbivores they hunted and leaving an indelible mark on the fossil record. Their immense size, specialized adaptations, and global distribution highlight the diverse paths evolution took to create these magnificent hunters. Among the most famous and largest of these theropod giants are Spinosaurus, Giganotosaurus, Tyrannosaurus rex, Carcharodontosaurus, and Maposaurus. Each of these species represents a peak in theropod evolution in different parts of the world and at different times during the Cretaceous period, though T-Rex also extended into the very late Cretaceous. Their sizes are often debated due to incomplete fossil remains, but estimates place them among the largest terrestrial carnivores of all time. Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, from North Africa during the Middle Cretaceous period, is currently considered the longest-known carnivorous dinosaur, with estimates suggesting lengths of up to 15 or 16 meters. Its most distinctive feature was a massive sail on its back, supported by tall neural spines. Unlike other large theropods, Spinosaurus had a long, narrow snout filled with conical teeth, similar to a crocodile, and robust forelimbs with large claws. Recent discoveries of its tail structure indicate it was adapted for propulsion in water, suggesting a semi-aquatic lifestyle. This makes Spinosaurus unique among giant theropods, as it likely spent much of its time hunting large fish and other aquatic prey in river systems, rather than exclusively pursuing terrestrial dinosaurs. Its primary prey would have been large fish, but it likely also fed on terrestrial animals that came near the water. Giganotosaurus carolini, discovered in Argentina, South America, lived during the late Cretaceous period. It was one of the largest land predators, with estimated lengths of up to 13 meters. Giganotosaurus possessed a massive deep skull armed with serrated blade-like teeth, designed for slicing through flesh. Its powerful legs indicate it was built for speed and pursuit, likely preying on the enormous titanosaurs that also inhabited South America at the time. The discovery of multiple Giganotosaurus individuals in a bone bed has led some paleontologists to speculate that they might have hunted in groups, a rare behavior for such large solitary predators, which would have allowed them to take down even larger prey. Tyrannosaurus rex, from western North America during the very late Cretaceous period, is perhaps the most iconic giant theropod. While possibly not the longest or heaviest, T-Rex was incredibly robust, estimated to be around 12 to 13 meters long and weighing up to 9 tons. Its skull was massive and heavily built, housing teeth that were thick and cone-shaped, designed for crushing bone rather than just slicing flesh. This powerful bite force, the strongest of any known land animal, suggests T-Rex was capable of breaking through the bones of large herbivores like Triceratops and Edmontosaurus. Its powerful hind legs indicate it was a formidable runner, though its top speed is debated. T-Rex was an apex predator, dominating its ecosystem in the final millions of years of the dinosaur age. Carcharodontosaurus saharicus, another giant from North Africa, lived during the Middle Cretaceous, similar to Spinosaurus. With estimated lengths approaching 13 meters, it was comparable in size to Giganotosaurus. Its name, meaning shark-toothed lizard, refers to its large, serrated, blade-like teeth, which were ideal for inflicting deep slicing wounds on large prey. Like Giganotosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus was built for powerful pursuit and had a massive skull. It likely preyed on the large sauropods and other herbivores of its African environment. Its presence alongside Spinosaurus in the same ecosystem suggests a partitioning of resources, with Spinosaurus focusing on aquatic prey and Carcharodontosaurus on terrestrial giants. Maposaurus rosea, also from Argentina and living during the late Cretaceous, was closely related to Giganotosaurus and reached similar immense sizes, around 12 to 13 meters long. Like its cousin, Maposaurus had a large blade-like skull and teeth adapted for slicing. The discovery of multiple Maposaurus individuals of varying ages in a single bone bed has further fueled the hypothesis of pack hunting among these large Carcharodontosaurids. If they did hunt in groups, it would have allowed them to subdue the truly colossal Titanosaurs that were prevalent in South America during that period, such as Argentinosaurus and Patagotitan. The evolution of gigantism in theropods was driven by the availability of large herbivorous prey. As sauropods and other large plant eaters diversified and increased in size, a selective pressure emerged for predators capable of taking them down. This led to an arms race, where predators also grew larger and more powerful. Despite their immense size, these theropods were agile for their bulk, with strong leg muscles and balancing tails. Their sensory organs, particularly their vision and sense of smell, were likely highly developed to locate and track prey across vast landscapes. The challenges of being a giant predator were considerable. They required vast territories to find enough food, and their large bodies demanded a significant energy intake. Injuries during hunts could be fatal. However, their size also afforded them dominance in their ecosystems, placing them at the top of the food chain with few, if any, natural enemies once they reached adulthood. The legacy of these theropod giants continues to fascinate, offering a glimpse into a prehistoric world where immense power and scale defined the ultimate hunters. Spinosaurus aegyptiacus holds the distinction of being the largest known carnivorous dinosaur, surpassing even Tyrannosaurus rex and Giganotosaurus in length. Estimates suggest it could reach lengths of up to 15 meters, or about 50 feet, and weigh more than 6 metric tons. Its unique adaptations for a semi-aquatic lifestyle set it apart from other large theropods, making it a specialized predator of the waterways rather than solely a land-based hunter. Spinosaurus lived in what is now North Africa during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 99 to 93.5 million years ago. Its environment was characterized by vast river systems, deltas, and coastal swamps, rich in aquatic life. The most striking feature of Spinosaurus was its enormous neural spine sail, which could reach up to 1.6 meters, or over 5 feet tall. This sail was formed by long bony extensions of its vertebrae. While its exact function remains debated, leading theories suggest thermoregulation, display, or a combination of both. As a thermoregulatory device, the sail could have helped Spinosaurus regulate its body temperature in the warm, humid environment. By orienting the sail towards or away from the sun, it could have rapidly gained or lost heat. For display, a large, potentially colourful sail could have been used to attract mates or intimidate rivals, much like the sails or crests seen in some modern animals. Its location on the back also suggested it might have been useful for movement in water, possibly acting as a rudder or stabiliser, though this idea is less commonly accepted. The skull of Spinosaurus was distinctly different from other large theropods. It possessed a long, narrow snout, strikingly similar to that of a modern crocodile, rather than the deep, robust skulls of T-Rex or Giganotosaurus. This elongated snout was equipped with numerous conical, unserrated teeth that were well suited for gripping slippery prey. Unlike the blade-like teeth of land-based predators designed for tearing flesh, the teeth of Spinosaurus were optimized for piercing and holding. This dental morphology strongly supports a diet heavily reliant on fish. Further evidence for its aquatic nature comes from its skeleton. Its jaws were lined with many teeth, and its nostrils were positioned high on its snout, allowing it to breathe while much of its head was submerged. Studies of its bone density show unusually dense bones, a condition known as osteosclerosis, which is common in aquatic or semi-aquatic animals like hippos or manatees. Denser bones reduce buoyancy, allowing the animal to submerge more easily and remain stable underwater. Its forelimbs were robust with powerful claws, particularly a large curved claw on the first digit, which might have been used to hook large fish. Its hind limbs were relatively short compared to its body size, and its feet were broad and flat, possibly even webbed, which would have been advantageous for paddling or moving through soft, muddy terrain. Recent discoveries and re-evaluations of fossil material, including a largely complete tail, have provided even more compelling evidence for its aquatic lifestyle. The tail of Spinosaurus was deep and paddle-like, with long neural spines and chevrons, forming a broad, flexible fin. This tail structure is highly specialized for propulsion in water, much like the tails of modern crocodiles or newts. Analysis of the tail's biomechanics suggests it was capable of powerful side-to-side undulations, enabling efficient swimming. This finding solidified the hypothesis that Spinosaurus was not just wading or snatching fish from the shallows, but actively pursuing prey in aquatic environments. The diet of Spinosaurus primarily consisted of large fish, an abundance of which populated the Cretaceous rivers of North Africa. Fossil evidence includes fish scales found in association with Spinosaurus remains, and even a large sawfish vertebra embedded in a Spinosaurus tooth. However, its size and powerful build suggest it was an opportunistic predator that would also have hunted other aquatic or semi-aquatic animals, such as crocodiles, or even scavenged carcasses. Its adaptability allowed it to exploit the rich resources of the freshwater and coastal ecosystems. The discovery history of Spinosaurus is complex. The first fossils were found in Egypt in the early 20th century by German paleontologist Ernst Stromer. These original specimens, including parts of the distinctive sail, were tragically destroyed during a bombing raid in Munich in World War II. For many decades, Spinosaurus remained a mysterious and poorly understood dinosaur, known only from illustrations and fragmented records. New discoveries in Morocco in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, particularly by paleontologist Nizar Ibrahim and his team, have provided critical new fossil material, including portions of its skull, limbs, and the paddle-like tail, allowing for a much clearer understanding of its anatomy and lifestyle. These new finds confirm the radical differences between Spinosaurus and other large theropods, shifting the scientific view from a terrestrial monster to a unique riverine giant. Its existence highlights the incredible diversity of predatory strategies that evolved among dinosaurs. While T-Rex dominated terrestrial environments with crushing bites, Spinosaurus carved out a unique niche as a specialized piscivore, ruling the vast river systems of prehistoric North Africa. Its adaptations represent a remarkable instance of a large land animal returning to a significantly aquatic mode of life, a convergent evolution with later marine reptiles and even some mammals. Giganotosaurus carolini was a colossal carnivorous dinosaur that roamed what is now South America during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 99 to 97 million years ago. It stands as one of the largest land predators ever discovered, rivaling Tyrannosaurus rex and being slightly larger than Carcharodontosaurus. Estimates suggest Giganotosaurus could reach lengths of up to 13 meters, or about 43 feet, and weigh between 6 and 13 metric tons. Its discovery in the mid-1990s in Argentina significantly altered our understanding of apex predators in ancient ecosystems, proving that North America did not hold a monopoly on the largest flesh-eating dinosaurs. The first significant Giganotosaurus fossils were unearthed by Ruben Carolini, a local amateur fossil hunter, in 1993 in the Candeleros Formation of Patagonia, Argentina. The initial discovery included a partial skull, pelvis, and leg bones. Subsequent excavations revealed more skeletal elements, allowing for a comprehensive reconstruction of this magnificent predator. The name Giganotosaurus means giant southern lizard, a fitting description for a creature of its immense size and geographical origin. Giganotosaurus belonged to a group of theropods called Carcharodontosauridae, known for their large size and blade-like teeth. Its skull was massive, measuring up to 1.8 meters, or about 6 feet, long. While undeniably powerful, its skull was more slender and elongated compared to the deep, robust skull of Tyrannosaurus rex. This difference in skull structure suggests distinct hunting and feeding styles. Giganotosaurus possessed serrated, knife-like teeth, which were well suited for slicing through flesh and causing massive blood loss in its prey. Its bite force, while strong, was likely not as bone-crushing as that of T-Rex, but rather designed for rapid, repeated slashing attacks to debilitate large herbivores. The forelimbs of Giganotosaurus were relatively short but robust, equipped with sharp claws. Its hind limbs were powerful and muscular, supporting its massive body and enabling it to move with considerable speed, especially over short bursts. While precise speed estimates are challenging, its limb proportions suggest it was capable of chasing down large prey. Its long, heavy tail would have served as a counterbalance, aiding in balance during movement and quick turns. The ecosystem in which Giganotosaurus lived was rich in large sauropod dinosaurs, such as Ankylosaurus and Argentinosaurus, some of the largest land animals to ever exist. This abundance of colossal herbivores provided the necessary food source for such an enormous predator. Scientists hypothesize that Giganotosaurus may have hunted these giant sauropods, perhaps in packs or coordinated groups, given the sheer scale of its potential prey. While direct evidence for pack hunting is rare among theropods, the discovery of the multiple Maposaurus, a close relative of Giganotosaurus, individuals in a single bone bed, lends some support to this idea for Carcharodontosaurids. Hunting such immense animals would have required teamwork and cunning. The role of Giganotosaurus as an apex predator in its environment is undisputed. It would have dominated the food chain, preying on the largest herbivores and competing with other large predators. Its existence highlights a different evolutionary path for giant carnivores compared to the North American Tyrannosaurus rex. While both were massive, their cranial and dental adaptations suggest specialized approaches to predation. Giganotosaurus was built for shearing flesh, a strategy perhaps necessary when confronting prey of monumental size that could not be easily dispatched with a single bone-crushing bite. Its discovery challenged the long-held view that T-Rex was the absolute largest land predator, sparking considerable scientific and public interest. The relatively complete nature of the initial Giganotosaurus fossil provided valuable data for comparative studies, allowing paleontologists to better understand the range of gigantism in theropods across different continents and geological periods. The existence of multiple super-large theropod species like Giganotosaurus, Spinosaurus, and Carcharodontosaurus during the Cretaceous demonstrates a period of intense predatory evolution, likely driven by the coevolution with increasingly larger herbivorous dinosaurs. This era saw an arms race between predator and prey, pushing both to extreme sizes. The Giganotosaurus offers a captivating glimpse into the prehistoric world of South America, showcasing a dinosaur that was not just enormous, but also a highly specialized and dominant hunter in its ancient Patagonian homeland. Its discovery continues to inform our understanding of dinosaur diversity, evolutionary pressures, and the dynamics of gigantic ecosystems. Tyrannosaurus rex, often shortened to T-Rex, is arguably the most famous dinosaur that ever lived. Its name, meaning tyrant lizard king, perfectly encapsulates its status as one of the most formidable predators of its time. T-Rex roamed western North America during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 68 to 66 million years ago, right up until the mass extinction event that ended the age of dinosaurs. Estimates place its length at around 12 meters, or 40 feet, and its weight between 8 and 14 metric tons, making it a truly immense and powerful animal. The first significant Tyrannosaurus rex fossils were discovered in the early 1900s by Barnum Brown in Montana. Since then, numerous specimens have been unearthed, providing a rich fossil record that has allowed scientists to develop a detailed understanding of its anatomy, biology, and behavior. These discoveries include nearly complete skeletons, juveniles, and even evidence of its powerful bite on the bones of its prey. The most striking feature of Tyrannosaurus rex was its massive skull, which could measure up to 1.5 meters, or about 5 feet, long. Unlike the more slender skulls of other large theropods like Giganotosaurus, the T-Rex skull was deep, robust, and designed for immense bite force. Its teeth were thick, conical, and serrated, well suited for crushing bone as well as tearing flesh. Scientists have estimated its bite force to be the strongest of any terrestrial animal, capable of exerting over 3.5 tons of pressure in a single bite. This incredible bite force allowed T-Rex to pulverize bone, access nutrient-rich marrow, and quickly dispatch large prey. Tyrannosaurus rex was a bipedal predator, meaning it walked on 2 powerful hind legs. These legs were muscular and well proportioned for supporting its massive body. While often depicted as a slow-moving giant, studies of its limb proportions and muscle attachments suggest it was capable of considerable speed, particularly over short distances, perhaps up to 20 to 25 kilometers per hour, or 12 to 15 miles per hour. Its long, heavy tail served as a counterbalance, aiding in balance and agility during pursuit and attack. In contrast to its powerful hind limbs, the forelimbs of T-Rex were remarkably small, measuring only about 1 meter, or 3 feet, long. They possessed 2 clawed digits. The exact function of these small arms remains a topic of debate among paleontologists. Hypotheses range from holding struggling prey close to its body, aiding in pushing off the ground when rising from a prone position, or perhaps even serving a role in mating rituals. Despite their small size, the arm bones show evidence of strong muscle attachments, indicating they were not vestigial but had some functional purpose. Tyrannosaurus rex was the apex predator of its ecosystem. Its diet consisted primarily of large herbivorous dinosaurs, including armored ankylosaurs, horned ceratopsians like Triceratops, and duck-billed hadrosaurs. Fossil evidence, such as bite marks on bones and the presence of digested bone fragments in fossilized feces, coprolites, confirms its predatory habits. There is also debate about whether T-Rex was solely a hunter or an opportunistic scavenger. Current consensus suggests it was both, a highly capable predator that would not pass up an easy meal from a carcass. The growth rate of Tyrannosaurus rex was astounding. Studies of bone rings, similar to tree rings, show that T-Rex experienced a rapid growth spurt during its teenage years, gaining thousands of kilograms in just a few years to reach its enormous adult size. This rapid growth allowed it to quickly dominate its environment and reduce the time it was vulnerable as a smaller animal. Life for T. rex was also likely fraught with danger, as evidenced by fossilized injuries on many specimens, including healed broken bones and bite marks from other T-Rex individuals, suggesting fierce territorial battles or cannibalism. Tyrannosaurus rex represents the culmination of theropod evolution in North America. Its enormous size, bone-crushing bite, and powerful build made it the ultimate predator of the late Cretaceous. Its scientific study continues to provide new insights into dinosaur physiology, biomechanics, and ecology. The enduring fascination with Tyrannosaurus rex reflects its iconic status as the tyrant lizard king, a true marvel of prehistoric evolution that continues to capture the imagination of scientists and the public alike. Its powerful presence at the very end of the dinosaur age makes it a symbol of their dominance before their ultimate demise. Carcharodontosaurus saharicus was a formidable theropod dinosaur that roamed North Africa during the Middle Cretaceous period, approximately 100 million to 94 million years ago. Its name, meaning shark-toothed lizard, directly references its most distinguishing feature, a mouth full of large serrated teeth that bore a striking resemblance to those of a shark. These teeth were adapted for a specific method of predation, differing significantly from the bone-crushing capabilities often associated with its more famous contemporary, Tyrannosaurus rex. Fossil evidence for Carcharodontosaurus was first discovered in the 1920s in Algeria, though these initial finds were destroyed during World War II. More complete remains were later unearthed in Niger and Morocco in the 1990s, allowing scientists to reconstruct a more accurate picture of this gigantic predator. Estimates place its length at around 12 to 13 metres, with some suggesting it might have reached up to 14 metres, making it comparable in size, if not slightly larger, than Tyrannosaurus rex. Its weight is estimated to have been between 6 and 8 metric tons. The skull of Carcharodontosaurus was long and relatively narrow compared to the deep, robust skull of Tyrannosaurus rex. It measured about 1.6 metres in length. This skull structure is key to understanding its feeding strategy. Its teeth were indeed blade-like, laterally compressed and finely serrated along both edges. Each tooth could be up to 20 centimetres long. Unlike the thick, conical and robust teeth of T-Rex, which were designed to withstand immense crushing forces, Carcharodontosaurus's teeth were thinner and sharper, optimized for slicing through flesh. This dental morphology suggests a strategy of flesh slicing, or kill biting. Instead of delivering a single, bone-shattering bite, Carcharodontosaurus likely used its sharp teeth to inflict deep, gaping wounds on its prey. Its jaws were probably designed for rapid opening and closing, allowing it to take quick, repeated bites. This would have caused severe blood loss and shock in large prey animals, gradually weakening them until they succumbed. Such a strategy is effective against very large herbivores, as it does not require breaking bone but rather incapacitating the victim through injury. The sharp serrations would have allowed the teeth to saw through muscle and hide efficiently. The prey animals available to Carcharodontosaurus in its North African habitat were vast and formidable. These included large sauropods like Paralititan, one of the largest known dinosaurs, as well as various ornithopods and smaller armoured dinosaurs. A slicing bite strategy would have been highly effective against the large fleshy bodies of these giant herbivores. Multiple attacks on the flanks, legs or underbelly could have brought down even the most enormous sauropods. The sensory capabilities of Carcharodontosaurus also offer insights into its predatory lifestyle. Studies of its brain case suggest it had a well-developed sense of smell, similar to other large theropods. This would have been crucial for locating prey over long distances, tracking injured animals or finding carcasses. Its vision, while not as acutely studied as T-Rex's, was likely good enough for a large diurnal predator. The environment Carcharodontosaurus inhabited was a lush, swampy and river-filled landscape, very different from the more arid regions of present-day North Africa. This environment supported a rich diversity of large dinosaurs, providing ample prey for a super predator of its size. The presence of Spinosaurus, another giant theropod with a different specialized diet, primarily fish, suggests that these two massive carnivores may have coexisted by occupying different ecological niches, thus reducing direct competition for food resources. While Spinosaurus hunted in the water, Carcharodontosaurus likely focused on the vast terrestrial herbivores. The forelimbs of Carcharodontosaurus were relatively short compared to its massive body, but they were robust and ended in three-fingered hands equipped with sharp claws. While not used for grasping in the same way as smaller predators, these claws could have been used to anchor onto struggling prey or to help position the carcass during feeding. Its powerful hind limbs suggest it was capable of bursts of speed and sustained pursuit, necessary for running down large prey. The study of Carcharodontosaurus provides valuable comparative data for understanding theropod evolution. It belongs to the Carcharodontosauridae family, a group of large theropods that were dominant predators across Gondwana, the southern supercontinent, during the early and middle Cretaceous. Other members of this family include Giganotosaurus and Maposaurus from South America, and Triassic from Asia. While these predators were convergently similar to Tyrannosaurus rex in their overall size and position as apex predators, their specific dental and skull adaptations highlight different evolutionary paths and hunting strategies. Carcharodontosaurus's existence underscores that gigantic size in theropods was not unique to the tyrannosaurids of Laurasia, the northern supercontinent, but evolved independently in various lineages across the globe, each with its own specialized methods for bringing down the largest herbivores of their time. The blade-like teeth of Carcharodontosaurus were a sophisticated tool for dominating its African ecosystem. Maposaurus rosea was an enormous theropod dinosaur that roamed what is now Argentina during the late Cretaceous period, approximately 97 million to 93 million years ago. Its discovery in the early 2000s provided significant insights into the behavior of giant carnivorous dinosaurs, particularly the intriguing possibility of group hunting. The name Maposaurus means earth lizard, derived from the Mapuche language of Patagonia, and rosea honors the rose-colored rock formations where its fossils were found. The most compelling evidence for Maposaurus engaging in cooperative hunting comes from the discovery of a bone bed, a site where multiple individuals of the same species are found together. At the Cañadón del Gato locality in Patagonia, paleontologists unearthed the fossilized remains of at least 7 Maposaurus individuals of various ages and sizes, ranging from juveniles to subadults and fully grown adults. This is a rare occurrence for large theropods, as solitary predators are more typically represented by individual finds. The intermingling of different age classes at a single death site suggests that these animals were not merely brought together by a common environmental trap, but possibly lived and hunted in groups. If Maposaurus did hunt in groups, it would represent a rare and complex social behavior among giant carnivorous dinosaurs. While many smaller theropods, like Diplodocus or Velociraptor, are thought to have hunted cooperatively, this behavior is less commonly attributed to predators of Maposaurus's immense size. Maposaurus could reach lengths of up to 12.5 meters and weigh several metric tons, making it comparable in size to Giganotosaurus, its close relative and another giant South American predator. The benefits of pack hunting for such large predators would have been considerable, especially when targeting the enormous sauropods that shared their environment. The Candeleros Formation, where Maposaurus fossils were found, also yielded remains of giant titanosaurs like Argentinosaurus. A single Maposaurus, while formidable, would face immense challenges in bringing down a fully grown Argentinosaurus, which could weigh up to 100 tons. A coordinated group attack, however, could increase success rates, allow for the tackling of larger or more dangerous prey, and potentially provide protection from other large predators or scavengers. The hunting strategy implied by pack behavior would likely have involved an initial attack by 1 or 2 individuals to weaken the prey, followed by a coordinated effort from the rest of the group to bring it down. Similar to the flesh-slicing strategy of Carcharodontosaurus, Maposaurus possessed blade-like serrated teeth, though perhaps slightly broader. These teeth were designed for inflicting deep wounds and causing significant blood loss, rather than bone crushing. A group of Maposaurus could have launched multiple rapid attacks to disorient and incapacitate their enormous sauropod prey. The anatomical features of Maposaurus support its role as an active predator. Its skull was large, about 1.5 meters long with powerful jaws. Its robust hind limbs indicate it was capable of powerful bursts of speed, essential for pursuing prey or escaping danger. Its 3-fingered forelimbs, while relatively small, were muscular and equipped with sharp claws, which could have been used to grasp or slash during an attack. The environment of late Cretaceous Patagonia was rich and diverse, characterized by vast floodplains and a warm, humid climate. This supported a thriving ecosystem with numerous large herbivores, providing a consistent food source for apex predators like Maposaurus. The presence of large sauropods would have been a significant driver for the evolution of cooperative hunting, as it offered a means to exploit a resource that might otherwise be too challenging for a single predator. While the bone bed evidence strongly suggests gregarious behavior in Maposaurus, it is important to note that direct proof of coordinated hunting remains difficult to establish from the fossil record alone. Other explanations for bone beds can include animals gathering around a water source during a drought, or simply multiple individuals dying in the same location over time. However, the mixture of ages and the relatively intact state of the Maposaurus fossils at the site lend weight to the pack hunting hypothesis. It is one of the most compelling cases for complex social behavior in giant non-avian theropods. The study of Maposaurus contributes significantly to our understanding of theropod ecology and behavior. It belongs to the Carcharodontosauridae family, along with Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus. These Carcharodontosaurids were the dominant large predators in the southern continents during the Middle Cretaceous, filling similar ecological roles to the Tyrannosaurids in the north. The potential for group hunting in Maposaurus highlights a different evolutionary trajectory for dealing with immense prey, emphasizing cooperation rather than the extreme individual power seen in Tyrannosaurus rex. The fossil record of Maposaurus thus offers a rare glimpse into the complex social dynamics that might have governed the lives of some of Earth's greatest ancient hunters. Giant theropod dinosaurs, the two-legged carnivorous apex predators of the Mesozoic era, employed a variety of hunting strategies to capture and subdue their often colossal prey. Their methods were dictated by their immense size, anatomical adaptations, and the characteristics of the herbivorous dinosaurs they hunted. These strategies range from stealthy ambushes to powerful pursuit, all aimed at securing the necessary caloric intake to sustain their massive bodies. One common hunting strategy for large predators, including theropods, was ambush. This involved waiting for unsuspecting prey to come within striking distance, then launching a sudden, powerful attack. For a dinosaur like Tyrannosaurus rex, which could weigh up to 9 metric tons, an ambush would maximize the impact of its initial charge and formidable bite. Its immense bulk would generate tremendous momentum, capable of knocking over or seriously injuring large prey with a single impact. Ambush tactics are particularly effective in environments with dense vegetation or terrain irregularities that can provide cover for such large animals. After the initial charge, the focus would shift to delivering a powerful killing bite. Another strategy was pursuit hunting. While not built for sustained, high-speed chases like modern gazelles, giant theropods were capable of impressive bursts of speed over short distances. Their powerful hind limbs, large muscle attachments, and relatively slender tails for balance indicate their capacity for rapid acceleration. Predators like Giganotosaurus or Carcharodontosaurus, which preyed on giant sauropods, might have relied on pursuit to close the distance or to harry an injured animal. The goal was often to exhaust the prey or to inflict sufficient damage to slow it down, making it vulnerable to a final debilitating attack. Evidence from trackways sometimes suggests individuals maintaining a consistent speed, implying a directed pursuit. The specific adaptations of theropod teeth and claws were central to their hunting success. As discussed with Carcharodontosaurus and Maposaurus, many large theropods possessed blade-like serrated teeth. These teeth were laterally compressed, creating sharp cutting edges. The serrations, or denticles on the edges of the teeth, acted like a steak knife, allowing them to efficiently slice through flesh, muscle, and tendons. This slice-and-dice strategy was effective for inflicting massive wounds that led to blood loss and shock, eventually incapacitating large, thick-skinned prey. This contrasts with the robust, cone-shaped teeth of some tyrannosaurids, which were adapted for crushing bone, indicating a different final kill mechanism. The forelimbs of giant theropods, though often appearing small in proportion to their massive bodies, were not useless. While they could not grasp prey in the way a human or a raptor might, they were muscular and tipped with sharp claws. These claws could have been used to stabilize struggling prey, to rake against the hide of a large herbivore, or to help the dinosaur maintain balance during a powerful bite. For example, T-Rex's two-fingered arms, while short, were exceptionally strong and may have been used for holding prey close during a bite or for pushing off the ground when getting up. The bite force of giant theropods was extraordinary. Tyrannosaurus rex, for instance, is estimated to have had the strongest bite force of any terrestrial animal, capable of crushing bone. This immense force allowed it to not only kill prey, but also to dismember carcasses and even consume bones, extracting maximum nutrients. Other large theropods like Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus also possessed powerful bites, though perhaps optimized for shearing rather than outright crushing. The architecture of their skulls, including fused bones and reinforced joints, was designed to withstand the tremendous stresses generated during a bite on struggling prey. Evidence for theropod hunting strategies comes from various sources in the fossil record. Bite marks found on the bones of herbivorous dinosaurs directly indicate predation. For example, T-Rex bite marks have been found on Triceratops and Edmontosaurus bones, with some showing signs of healing, suggesting attempted predation rather than scavenging. Fossilized stomach contents can reveal the last meal of a predator, providing direct evidence of its diet. Trackways can show patterns of movement, speed estimates, and even suggest interactions between predators and prey. Bone beds, like those of Maposaurus, provide rare insights into potential social behavior and group hunting. Scavenging also likely played a significant role in the diet of giant theropods. While capable hunters, no predator passes up an easy meal. Carcasses of animals that died from natural causes, disease, or other predation events would have provided a valuable food source. The sharp sense of smell in many theropods would have been crucial for locating such opportunities over long distances. The distinction between pure predator and pure scavenger is often blurry in nature. Most large carnivores are opportunistic, taking advantage of both live prey and carrion. The hunting strategies of giant theropods were a complex interplay of physical power, specialized adaptations, and behavioral flexibility. Their massive size alone made them formidable, but their specific dental tools, powerful limbs, and potential for social coordination allowed them to dominate the ecosystems of the Mesozoic era, successfully preying on the largest herbivores that ever walked the earth. The question of how fast giant theropods, like the formidable Tyrannosaurus rex or the immense Giganotosaurus, could move has been a subject of intense scientific debate and public fascination for decades. Popular culture often depicts these massive predators as swift, agile hunters capable of chasing down their prey at high speeds. However, scientific investigations drawing upon biomechanics, fossilized trackways, and computer modeling suggest a more nuanced and often slower reality, especially for the very largest individuals. The sheer mass of these animals presents significant biomechanical challenges to rapid locomotion. A fully grown Tyrannosaurus rex could weigh between 6 and 9 tons, roughly equivalent to a large elephant. Moving such a colossal weight at high speeds requires immense muscle power and places extraordinary stress on the skeleton. When an animal runs, its body experiences several times its own weight with each stride as its feet impact the ground. For a multi-ton animal, these forces would be enormous. The bones, particularly in the legs and feet, would need to be incredibly strong to withstand such impacts without fracturing. A fall at high speed could have been catastrophic, potentially leading to fatal injuries. This inherent risk likely imposed a natural limit on their top speed. Studies of bone strength and stress distribution indicate that the leg bones of giant theropods were robust but not infinitely strong. Computer models that simulate the forces on a Tyrannosaurus rex skeleton during running suggest that speeds exceeding 25 miles per hour would have put its bones under dangerous levels of stress, potentially leading to fractures. This does not mean they could not run at all, but rather that their maximum speed was likely constrained by the structural integrity of their skeletal system. Another factor is the arrangement and proportions of their limbs. While theropods were bipedal, their legs were thick and columnar, designed for supporting immense weight rather than for explosive acceleration or sustained high-speed running. The relative lengths of the femur, thigh bone, and tibia, shin bone, as well as the structure of the foot provide clues. In many fast-running animals, the lower leg bones are proportionally longer, allowing for longer strides and faster limb cycling. In the largest theropods, these proportions tend to be less indicative of extreme speed. The position of their center of mass also played a role. Giant theropods had massive bodies balanced over 2 legs, with a long, heavy tail acting as a counterbalance. Maintaining stability and balance during rapid movement, especially when changing direction, would have been a significant challenge. A slight misstep at high speeds could easily lead to a loss of balance and a devastating fall. This suggests that agility and quick turns were likely not their strong suit at top speeds. Direct evidence of theropod locomotion comes from fossilized trackways. These rare but invaluable discoveries provide snapshots of how dinosaurs walked and ran. Scientists can measure stride length and estimate hip height from these trackways, which can then be used in mathematical formulas to calculate approximate speeds. While trackways of smaller theropods sometimes show evidence of faster gaits, those attributed to giant theropods typically indicate walking or a relatively slow trot. For instance, some Tyrannosaurus rex trackways suggest a walking speed of around 2 to 5 miles per hour. It is important to note, however, that trackways only preserve the speed at which the animal was moving at that specific moment. They do not necessarily reveal its maximum possible speed. A dinosaur might have been capable of bursts of higher speed that are simply not preserved in the fossil record. Computer modeling and biomechanical simulations have become increasingly sophisticated tools in this debate. These models take into account not only bone structure, but also estimated muscle mass, muscle attachment points, and the physics of locomotion. Early models often overestimated speeds, but more recent refined simulations, which incorporate more realistic muscle properties and joint mechanics, tend to converge on lower maximum speeds for the largest theropods. For Tyrannosaurus rex, these models typically suggest a top speed in the range of 10 to 25 miles per hour, with some estimates even lower. This is comparable to, or slightly faster than, a human sprinter, but significantly slower than modern pursuit predators like cheetahs or even much smaller dinosaurs. The implications of these speed estimates are profound for understanding the predatory strategies of giant theropods. If a Tyrannosaurus rex could only manage a fast jog or trot, how did it catch swift prey like Edmontosaurus or Triceratops, which were likely capable of similar or even higher speeds over short distances? This has fueled the long-standing predator versus scavenger debate. A slower speed might suggest that these animals were primarily ambush predators, relying on surprise and short bursts of acceleration, or that they targeted slower, larger prey like sauropods, as Giganotosaurus likely did. Alternatively, they might have been opportunistic feeders, combining active hunting with scavenging carcasses. Evidence from bite marks on bones and healed injuries on prey animals suggests that Tyrannosaurus rex certainly engaged in active predation. Its powerful legs and relatively long strides indicate it was capable of sustained movement, perhaps a powerful ground-eating stride rather than a fast sprint. It is also important to differentiate between the largest theropods and their smaller cousins. Medium-sized theropods like Allosaurus or Deinonychus were likely much faster and more agile, capable of bursts of speed to catch their prey. The biomechanical constraints scale with size. The larger the animal, the more challenging it is to achieve high speeds without risking injury. Therefore, while a velociraptor might have been a swift runner, a Tyrannosaurus rex was likely a powerful but relatively slower mover, relying on its immense size, strength, and perhaps an element of surprise rather than outright speed to secure its meals. The picture that emerges is one of a formidable, powerful animal, capable of moving effectively across its environment, but perhaps not the lightning-fast pursuit hunter often imagined. Giant theropods, the apex predators of the Mesozoic era, were obligate carnivores, meaning their diet consisted entirely of meat. Sustaining their massive bodies, which could weigh many tons, required an enormous intake of calories. Understanding their dietary needs and hunting strategies involves examining various lines of evidence from the fossil record, including their teeth, jaw structure, stomach contents, bite marks on prey bones, and even fossilized feces. The most direct evidence of a theropod's diet comes from its teeth and jaws. Different giant theropods evolved distinct dental specializations reflecting their preferred prey and hunting methods. Tyrannosaurus rex, for example, possessed thick, robust, banana-shaped teeth with serrated edges. These teeth, combined with an incredibly powerful bite force, estimated to be the strongest of any land animal, indicate a diet that included bone crushing. Fossilized T-Rex coprolites, or fossilized feces, have been found containing large fragments of bone, further supporting this bone-crunching capability. Its prey likely included large ornithischian dinosaurs, like the horned Triceratops and the duck-billed Edmontosaurus. Evidence of T-Rex bite marks on the bones of these herbivores, some showing signs of healing, confirms that it actively hunted and fed upon them. The debate about whether T-Rex was primarily a predator or a scavenger is ongoing, but the consensus leans towards it being an opportunistic feeder, both hunting and scavenging as opportunities arose, much like modern large carnivores. Its powerful sense of smell and ability to cover large distances would have made it an efficient scavenger. In contrast, other giant theropods like Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus had teeth that were thinner and more blade-like, designed for slicing through flesh rather than crushing bone. Their bite forces, while still immense, were not as high as T-Rex. This suggests a different feeding strategy, likely involving inflicting massive wounds on large prey, allowing them to bleed out or weaken before the final kill. These predators lived in environments with enormous sauropods, such as Argentinosaurus for Giganotosaurus in South America. It is plausible that these theropods targeted juvenile or infirm sauropods, or perhaps worked in groups to bring down adults. Evidence from bone beds of Maposaurus, a close relative of Giganotosaurus, suggests that multiple individuals died together, hinting at possible social behaviour or group hunting, which would have been necessary to tackle such colossal prey. Spinosaurus, the largest known carnivorous dinosaur, presents a unique dietary case. Its elongated, crocodile-like snout and conical, unserrated teeth were well suited for catching slippery prey, particularly large fish. Direct evidence comes from a fossilised Spinosaurus stomach containing fish scales and bones, including those of the giant sawfish Onchopristis. Its dense bones, small pelvis, and large dorsal sail suggest a semi-aquatic lifestyle, spending considerable time in rivers and coastal waters. While fish were a primary food source, Spinosaurus was likely an opportunistic predator, also preying on other aquatic and terrestrial animals that ventured near the water's edge, such as smaller dinosaurs or pterosaurs. Its massive claws could have been used to hook fish or to tear apart carcasses. The energy requirements for maintaining such massive bodies were immense. While dinosaurs are not thought to have been warm-blooded in the same way as mammals or birds, they likely had higher metabolic rates than modern cold-blooded reptiles. A large, active predator would have needed to consume a significant percentage of its body weight in meat regularly. A single large kill, such as a multi-ton herbivore, could have provided enough sustenance for a giant theropod for several days or even weeks. This would have meant periods of intense feeding followed by periods of rest and digestion. The digestive systems of these animals would have been highly efficient at extracting nutrients from meat and bone. The presence of specific prey animals in the same geological formations as giant theropods provides strong circumstantial evidence for their diet. For example, the abundance of large hadrosaurs and ceratopsians in late Cretaceous North America correlates with the presence of Tyrannosaurus rex. Similarly, the presence of colossal Titanosaurs in South America aligns with the existence of Giganotosaurus and Maposaurus. This co-occurrence in time and space suggests a predator-prey relationship. The ecological role of giant theropods as apex predators was crucial. They sat at the top of the food chain, controlling herbivore populations and influencing the structure of their ecosystems. Their immense size and power allowed them to exploit a wide range of food sources, from freshly killed prey to scavenged carcasses, ensuring their survival in dynamic prehistoric environments. The diversity in their dental and cranial anatomy highlights the different evolutionary paths these giants took to exploit the abundant food resources available in the Mesozoic world. While the title of biggest dinosaurs often goes to the colossal long-necked sauropods or the fearsome giant theropods, the Ornithischian dinosaurs also included some truly enormous creatures. These bird-hipped dinosaurs, characterized by a backward-pointing pubis bone, were exclusively herbivores and represented a diverse array of forms, many of which evolved impressive defensive structures. Although they did not reach the extreme weights or lengths of the largest sauropods, or the predatory bulk of the biggest theropods, their sheer size made them dominant herbivores in their ecosystems. Among the ceratopsians or horned dinosaurs, Triceratops stands out as the largest and most famous. Living in late Cretaceous North America, Triceratops was a formidable animal, reaching lengths of up to 9 meters and weighing between 6 and 12 tons. Its most distinctive features were its massive bony frill, which could be over 2 meters wide, and its 3 prominent horns, 2 long ones above its eyes and a shorter one on its snout. The frill likely served multiple purposes, including defense against predators like Tyrannosaurus rex, display for mating or territorial disputes, and possibly even thermoregulation. Its powerful beak and dental batteries were well suited for shearing and grinding tough fibrous vegetation. Triceratops was a low browser, feeding on ferns, cycads, and other ground-level plants. Fossil evidence, including bone beds, suggests that Triceratops may have lived in herds, providing collective defense against large predators. Another ceratopsian, Torosaurus, known for its even larger frill with 2 large holes, was once considered a separate, potentially larger genus, though some paleontologists now propose it might represent a mature Triceratops. Eotriceratops, discovered in Canada, is another contender for one of the largest ceratopsians, with a skull estimated to be 3 meters long. The ankylosaurs, or armored dinosaurs, were the ultimate defensive herbivores. Among them, Ankylosaurus was the largest and most heavily armoured, living alongside Triceratops in late Cretaceous North America. Reaching lengths of up to 8 metres and weighing 6 to 8 tonnes, Ankylosaurus was essentially a living tank. Its entire body, from its broad skull to its tail, was covered in thick bony plates and spikes called osteoderms, providing formidable protection against predators. Its most iconic feature was a massive bony club at the end of its tail, formed by fused osteoderms. This tail club, weighing potentially hundreds of kilograms, could deliver devastating blows, capable of breaking the bones of a large theropod. Ankylosaurus had a wide gut, suggesting a diet of low-lying, fibrous plants that would have undergone extensive fermentation. Its short, powerful legs supported its immense weight, making it a slow but incredibly resilient animal. Euoplocephalus, another large ankylosaur from North America, was similar in size and build, also featuring extensive armour and a tail club. Hadrosaurs, or duck-billed dinosaurs, were among the most successful and diverse ornithischians, known for their elaborate crests and dental batteries. While many were medium-sized, some species grew to truly gigantic proportions. Shantungosaurus giganteus, from late Cretaceous China, holds the record as the largest known ornithischian dinosaur. Estimates suggest it could reach lengths of up to 15 metres and weigh as much as 15 to 20 tonnes, rivaling the size of some smaller sauropods. Its massive dental batteries containing hundreds of tightly packed teeth allowed it to process vast quantities of tough plant material, making it an incredibly efficient herbivore. Edmontosaurus, a common hadrosaur from North America, also grew to impressive sizes, reaching lengths of up to 13 metres and weighing around 4 to 5 tonnes. Hadrosaurs are famous for evidence of complex social behaviours, including living in herds, migrating, and nesting in large colonies. Their diverse vocalizations, possibly aided by their hollow crests, would have filled the prehistoric soundscape. Stegosaurs, like the iconic Stegosaurus, were also large, though not reaching the extreme sizes of the largest ceratopsians or hadrosaurs. Stegosaurus, from late Jurassic North America, measured up to 9 metres long and weighed around 5 tonnes. It is famous for its distinctive double row of large kite-shaped plates along its back and 4 sharp spikes on its tail, known as a thagomizer. While the exact function of the plates is debated, defense, display, thermoregulation, the tail spikes were undoubtedly used for defense against predators like Allosaurus. Stegosaurus was a low browser, using its small head and beak to nip at ferns and cycads. Even the pachycephalosaurs, or dome-headed dinosaurs, included some large members, though none reached the scale of the other ornithischian giants. Pachycephalosaurus, the largest of its group, grew to about 4.5 metres long. While not a giant in the context of the biggest dinosaurs overall, it was a robust animal known for its incredibly thick, bony skull dome, likely used in headbutting contests. Triceratops, a name meaning three-horned face, is perhaps one of the most recognisable and iconic dinosaurs that ever lived. It roamed the plains of western North America during the very late Cretaceous period, approximately 68 million to 66 million years ago, right up until the end of the age of dinosaurs. This massive herbivore was characterised by its enormous skull, featuring 3 prominent horns and a large bony frill that extended over its neck. These distinctive features were not merely decorative, they served crucial roles in both defence against formidable predators and in complex social behaviours, establishing Triceratops as one of the largest and most heavily armoured herbivores of its time. The skull of Triceratops was truly a marvel of natural engineering, representing about 1/3 of the animal's total body length, which could reach up to 9 metres. The largest known Triceratops skulls measured over 2.5 metres in length. This immense head supported 2 long sharp brow horns, each capable of growing to about 1 metre in length, projecting forward above its eyes. A shorter, blunt horn sat on its snout, giving the creature its tri-horned appearance. These horns were composed of a bony core much like the horns of the modern cattle, which would have been covered in a thick keratinous sheath in life. This keratin layer would have made the horns even longer and sharper, providing a formidable weapon. Behind the horns, the most striking feature was the massive frill, a broad bony shield that flared out from the back of the skull. This frill was formed from two large bones, the parietal and squamosal, which fused to create a solid protective barrier. Unlike the frills of some other horned dinosaurs, Triceratops's frill was mostly solid, with only small openings, making it a robust structure. The edges of the frill were often adorned with small triangular bony bumps called epiccipitals, which varied in size and shape between individuals and species. The primary function of the frill has been a subject of extensive scientific debate, but two main theories prevail: defense and display. As a defensive structure, the frill would have provided significant protection for the vulnerable neck and shoulders of Triceratops from the bites of large predators, most notably Tyrannosaurus rex, which shared its habitat. A direct strike to the neck or back by a T Rex could be fatal, and the frill would have acted as a formidable shield, deflecting or absorbing much of the impact. The sheer size and robustness of the frill suggest a strong defensive purpose. Beyond defense, the frill almost certainly played a role in display. Its large surface area and potential for varied coloration in life would have made it a prominent visual signal. This display could have been used for species recognition, allowing Triceratops to identify others of its kind from a distance. It could also have been used in sexual display, with larger or more elaborately coloured frills indicating health and fitness to potential mates. Furthermore, the frill, along with the horns, would have been crucial in intraspecific combat, meaning fights between individuals of the same species. Evidence from fossilised skulls shows injuries consistent with horn-to-horn combat, suggesting that males might have locked horns and pushed against each other to establish dominance, similar to modern deer or rhinoceroses. The frill would have protected the neck during these contests. The horns themselves were powerful offensive and defensive weapons. Against predators like T-Rex, the brow horns could have been used to gore or deter an attacker. A charging Triceratops would have been an incredibly dangerous opponent, capable of inflicting severe wounds. The blunt nasal horn might have been used for rooting around in vegetation or for less aggressive pushing contests within the herd. The robust structure of the skull and the strong neck muscles necessary to wield such a heavy head further support the idea of active combat and defense. Triceratops was a quadrupedal dinosaur, meaning it walked on all four legs. Its limbs were robust and pillar-like, designed to support its immense weight, estimated to be between 6 and 12 metric tons. Its body was barrel-shaped, indicating a large digestive system capable of processing vast amounts of tough plant material. Its diet consisted of low-growing vegetation, such as ferns, cycads, and conifers, which it would have cropped with its powerful parrot-like beak. The back of its mouth contained rows of shearing teeth arranged in dental batteries, which allowed it to efficiently slice and grind fibrous plants. Fossil evidence suggests that Triceratops may have lived in herds. Bone beds, where multiple individuals are found together, indicate social behaviour. Living in groups would have offered additional protection against predators, as multiple sets of eyes and horns could deter an attack. Young Triceratops fossils are also known, providing insights into their growth and development. They started life with relatively small frills and horns that grew proportionally larger and more elaborate as they matured, supporting the idea of their role in display and defense becoming more pronounced with age. The discovery of Triceratops began in the late 1800s, with the first significant finds made by Othniel Charles Marsh. Its distinctive features quickly made it a popular subject for paleontologists and the public alike. Numerous complete and partial skeletons have been unearthed, providing a wealth of information about its anatomy, biology, and behaviour. The fossil record of Triceratops is particularly rich, allowing scientists to study variations within the species and understand its evolutionary relationships with other ceratopsian dinosaurs. It is one of the best understood large dinosaurs. Stegosaurus, meaning roof lizard, is one of the most distinctive and easily recognized dinosaurs, famous for its unique arrangement of large bony plates along its back and its spiked tail. This herbivorous dinosaur lived during the late Jurassic period, approximately 155 million to 150 million years ago, primarily in what is now Western North America, with some fossils also found in Europe. Its unusual appearance has fascinated scientists and the public since its discovery in the late 1800s, leading to much debate about the precise function of its iconic plates and tail spikes. Stegosaurus was a large animal, reaching lengths of up to 9 meters and standing about 4 meters tall at the hips, though its head was held relatively low to the ground. Its weight is estimated to have been between 2 and 7 metric tons. Its most striking features were the 17 to 20 bony plates, known as osteoderms, arranged in 2 alternating rows along its back, from its neck to its tail. These plates varied in size and shape, with the largest ones reaching up to 60 centimeters tall and 60 centimeters wide. They were not directly attached to the skeleton, but were embedded in the skin, similar to the scutes of crocodiles. The exact arrangement of these plates, whether in a single row or 2 alternating rows, was a subject of early debate, but is now generally accepted to be alternating. The function of these dorsal plates has been one of the longest-standing mysteries in paleontology. Several hypotheses have been proposed, each with supporting arguments and counterpoints. One prominent theory suggests that the plates were primarily for thermoregulation, helping the Stegosaurus control its body temperature. The plates were highly vascularized, meaning they contained numerous grooves and channels for blood vessels, indicating a rich blood supply. If blood flowed through these plates, they could have acted as radiators. When the animal needed to warm up, it could have oriented its plates towards the sun, allowing blood to absorb heat from the sun's rays and distribute it throughout the body. Conversely, to cool down, the Stegosaurus could have faced away from the sun, or used a breeze to dissipate excess heat from the blood flowing through the plates. This mechanism is similar to how elephants use their large vascularized ears to regulate body temperature. The large surface area of the plates would have been efficient for both heating and cooling a large body. Another widely discussed function is display. The plates, being so prominent, would have made Stegosaurus highly visible in its environment. They could have been used for species recognition, allowing individuals to identify others of their kind from a distance. Furthermore, they might have played a role in sexual display, with larger, more colourful or more elaborately shaped plates indicating health, dominance or reproductive fitness to potential mates. The plates could have been flushed with blood to change their colour, making them even more noticeable, similar to how chameleons change colour. They could also have been used to intimidate rivals or deter predators, making the animal appear larger and more formidable than it actually was. A third hypothesis, less favoured now, suggested the plates were for defence. However, their placement and relatively thin structure, especially at the edges, make them seem less effective as direct armour against the powerful bites of large predators like Allosaurus. While they might have offered some superficial protection, they were unlikely to withstand a full-force attack. Their primary defensive role was likely more passive, making the animal look unappealing or difficult to attack, rather than providing robust physical shielding. Beyond the plates, the most formidable defensive weapon of Stegosaurus was its tail, armed with 4 long, sharp spikes. This weapon is famously known as a thagomizer, a term coined by cartoonist Gary Larson in a Far Side comic strip, which has since been adopted informally by paleontologists. These spikes, each up to 60 to 90 centimeters long, were arranged in 2 pairs at the end of its muscular tail. The thagomizer was clearly a weapon for active defense. Fossil evidence supports this. One notable fossil of an Allosaurus vertebra shows a puncture wound that perfectly matches the shape of a Stegosaurus tail spike, indicating that Stegosaurus actively swung its tail to defend itself against predators. The powerful musculature of the tail suggests it could be swung with considerable force, capable of inflicting serious injury or even death. The relatively small brain of Stegosaurus, often cited as being only the size of a walnut, led to the popular but incorrect myth of a second brain in its hip region. This misconception arose from a large neural canal in the hip vertebrae, which actually housed a glycogen body, a structure found in many birds, likely involved in energy storage for the hind limbs and tail. Stegosaurus was a quadrupedal dinosaur with a distinctive posture. Its front legs were much shorter than its hind legs, giving it an arched back and a head that was carried relatively low to the ground. This posture suggests it was a low browser, feeding on ferns, cycads, and other ground-level vegetation. Its small pointed head housed a beak for cropping plants, and its cheek teeth were simple, leaf-shaped, and not designed for extensive chewing. This implies it likely swallowed its food with minimal processing, relying on its digestive system to break down tough plant fibers. The discovery of Stegosaurus began in the 1870s during the bone wars between Othniel Charles Marsh and Edward Drinker Cope. Marsh described the first specimens, and the initial reconstructions were often inaccurate, with plates sometimes placed flat on the back or even on the side. Over time, more complete fossil finds and scientific study led to the current understanding of its anatomy and the alternating arrangement of its dorsal plates. Ankylosaurus, meaning fused lizard, was one of the largest and most heavily armoured dinosaurs that ever lived, often described as a living tank of the late Cretaceous period. It roamed western North America approximately 68 million to 66 million years ago, sharing its environment with formidable predators like Tyrannosaurus rex. Its entire body was covered in an intricate array of bony plates, spikes, and nodules, culminating in a massive bone club at the end of its tail, making it virtually impervious to attack and a true defensive specialist. The most striking feature of Ankylosaurus was its extensive body armour, composed of thousands of osteoderms or bony plates embedded directly within its skin. These osteoderms varied greatly in size and shape, ranging from small pebble-like nodules to large, flattened oval-shaped plates. They were arranged in rows over its back, flanks, and even its head and eyelids. The largest plates were often keeled, meaning they had a ridge running down the middle, providing additional strength and a more intimidating appearance. This armour was not just superficial, it was integrated into the animal's dermal layer, forming a continuous, flexible, yet incredibly tough shield over most of its body. The neck and shoulders were particularly well protected by large fused plates, offering a strong defence against downward strikes. This comprehensive armour served one primary function: passive defence against large carnivorous dinosaurs. A full-grown Ankylosaurus would have been an incredibly difficult target for any predator. Its low-slung, broad body combined with its heavy armour made it nearly impossible for a predator to get a good grip or inflict a fatal wound. When threatened, Ankylosaurus would likely have hunkered down, protecting its vulnerable underside, and presented a virtually impenetrable armoured shell to any attacker. The only soft parts of its body were its belly and the insides of its legs, which it could have protected by pressing itself against the ground. Beyond its passive armour, Ankylosaurus possessed an active and devastating defensive weapon: its massive tail club. The tail itself was relatively short and stiff, supported by a series of interlocking tendons that ran along its length. These tendons effectively stiffened the distal half of the tail, transforming it into a rigid, powerful handle for the club. The club itself was formed by two large fused osteoderms at the very end of the tail, creating a heavy, bony knob. This tail club could weigh many tens of kilograms. The tail club was wielded with immense power. The powerful muscles in the Ankylosaurus's hips and tail would have allowed it to swing the club with considerable force, capable of breaking bones. This was not a weapon for subtle deterrence. It was designed to inflict serious, potentially lethal damage. Paleontologists have theorized that a well-aimed swing to the legs of a large predator like Tyrannosaurus rex could have shattered bones, incapacitating or even killing the attacker. Evidence from fossilized bones of other dinosaurs, though not direct evidence of Ankylosaurus tail club impacts, shows injuries consistent with such powerful blunt force trauma. Ankylosaurus was a quadrupedal dinosaur, moving on all four legs. Its limbs were short and stout, designed to support its immense weight, estimated to be between 5 and 8 metric tons. Its broad stance and low centre of gravity contributed to its stability. Despite its heavy build, it was likely capable of a steady walk but not fast running. Its feet were broad and sturdy, providing good traction on various terrains. The head of Ankylosaurus was also heavily armoured. The skull itself was broad and low, covered with fused bony plates and small horn-like projections. Its eyes were protected by bony eyelids, a rare feature among dinosaurs, further emphasizing its commitment to defense. Its snout was broad, suggesting it was a non-selective browser, capable of cropping a wide variety of low-growing plants like ferns and cycads. It possessed a small, simple beak at the front of its mouth for cropping vegetation, and small, leaf-shaped teeth in the back of its jaws, suitable for processing fibrous plant material. Its diet would have been continuous and substantial to fuel its large body. The discovery of Ankylosaurus fossils began in the early 1900s, with the first significant remains found in Montana by Barnum Brown. However, complete skeletons are rare, as the osteoderms often disarticulate after death. Much of our understanding comes from combining findings from various partial skeletons and comparing them to more complete relatives within the Ankylosauridae family. The rarity of complete specimens makes Ankylosaurus a challenging dinosaur to study, but the distinctiveness of its armour and tail club is undeniable. Ankylosaurus represents the pinnacle of armoured dinosaur evolution. Its entire body plan was dedicated to defence, from its head to its tail. This heavy armament allowed it to coexist with some of the largest and most dangerous predators of the late Cretaceous, making it a formidable presence in its ecosystem. Its survival strategy was not based on speed or overwhelming offensive power, but on being an unassailable fortress, capable of delivering a devastating counterattack. The Ankylosaurus tank was a testament to the diverse and effective defensive adaptations that evolved in the age of dinosaurs. Estimating the size and weight of extinct dinosaurs, especially the truly gigantic ones, is a complex process for paleontologists. It relies heavily on comparing incomplete fossil remains to more complete skeletons of related animals, using known biological scaling principles, and analysing indirect evidence like trackways. It's not an exact science, and estimates can change as new fossils are found or as scientific understanding evolves. One of the primary methods is scaling from known skeletons. When a paleontologist finds a partial skeleton of a very large dinosaur, like a single huge leg bone or a few vertebrae, they often compare it to more complete skeletons of smaller but related dinosaurs. If they know the relationship between, say, the femur, thigh bone length, and the total body length or weight in a smaller, well-understood sauropod, they can use that ratio to estimate the dimensions of the larger, incomplete specimen. This method assumes that the proportions remain relatively consistent across different sizes within the same group of animals. For example, if a complete Apatosaurus femur is 1.5 meters long and the entire animal is 23 meters long, a newly discovered femur that is 2 meters long might suggest a dinosaur proportionally larger. However, this is a simplification. Different species within a group could have different body proportions. A very long neck on one species might skew total length estimates compared to another with a shorter neck. Another technique involves volumetric estimation, especially for weight. This method attempts to calculate the volume of a dinosaur's body and then multiply it by an assumed density. Scientists might build three-dimensional models of the dinosaur based on skeletal reconstructions. They then digitally flesh out the skeleton, adding layers of muscle, fat and organs to approximate the animal's likely body shape. This is often done by comparing to modern large animals like elephants or hippos, which have similar body plans. Once a volume is estimated, it's multiplied by a density value, usually assumed to be similar to water, 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter, or slightly less to account for air in the lungs and hollow bones. For example, if a dinosaur's body volume is estimated at 70 cubic meters, its weight might be estimated around 70,000 kilograms. The challenge here is accurately reconstructing the soft tissues. Dinosaurs were not simply shrink-wrapped skeletons. The exact amount of muscle, fat, and even air sacs within their bodies is speculative. Different reconstruction methods can lead to significantly different weight estimates for the same dinosaur, sometimes varying by tens of thousands of kilograms. Bone circumference measurements are also crucial for weight estimation, particularly for limb bones. The weight-bearing bones like the humerus, upper arm bone, and femur provide critical clues about the maximum load they could support. There's a known relationship between the circumference of these bones and the body mass they can bear. Larger circumference generally indicates greater weight. Paleontologists use formulas derived from living animals, such as elephants, to estimate dinosaur mass from the circumference of their limb bones. This method is often considered more reliable than volumetric estimates, because it directly uses the structural limits of the bones. However, it still depends on assumptions about bone density and the exact posture and gait of the dinosaur. Trackways, or fossilized footprints, provide unique insights that skeletal remains cannot. the depth and size of a footprint can give clues about the weight of the animal. Deeper prints suggest a heavier animal, especially if the ground conditions are known. The spacing of footprints, stride length, can help estimate leg length and even walking speed. For instance, very wide trackways might suggest a broad-bodied animal. Analysing sets of tracks can also indicate whether an animal walked on 2 or 4 legs, if it moved in herds, or if it dragged a tail. While trackways don't directly give precise weight, they can validate or refine estimates derived from bones. For example, if bone-based weight estimates seem too high or too low for the observed footprint depth, it prompts a re-evaluation. The discovery of more complete skeletons significantly improves accuracy. For many of the largest dinosaurs, like Argentinosaurus or Patagotitan, the initial estimates were based on very fragmentary remains. As more bones from the same species or closely related species are unearthed, the skeletal reconstruction becomes more robust, leading to more refined and often revised size and weight estimates. A single dorsal vertebra of Argentinosaurus is over 1.5 meters tall, indicating an animal of truly colossal scale. When multiple such bones, along with limb fragments, are found, a more coherent picture emerges. The development of 3-dimensional scanning and computer modelling has revolutionised size estimation. Paleontologists can now scan fossil bones to create precise digital models. These models can then be assembled virtually, allowing for detailed measurement and reconstruction. Computer simulations can also test different poses and stress distributions on the skeleton, helping to understand how such large animals moved and supported their weight. These digital tools allow for more accurate volumetric calculations and better visualization of the potential range of body shapes. It's important to note that all these methods involve a degree of extrapolation and assumption. Dinosaurs, especially the largest ones, had unique anatomies not perfectly mirrored by any living animal. For example, many sauropods had extensive air sac systems within their bones, making their skeletons lighter for their size than a mammal's. Accounting for these internal air spaces is crucial for accurate weight estimation. Also, different paleontologists using slightly different methodologies or assumptions can arrive at different estimates for the same dinosaur. This is why size figures for the largest dinosaurs often vary across different sources and publications. Science is an ongoing process of refinement. Each new discovery and analytical technique helps us get closer to understanding the true dimensions of these ancient giants. The understanding of giant dinosaurs is built piece by piece, bone by bone, through the relentless work of paleontologists in the field. Each significant fossil discovery not only reveals a new species, but often pushes the boundaries of what we thought possible in terms of animal size. Unearthing these colossal remains presents immense challenges, from the logistics of excavation to the delicate process of preservation and transport. One of the most pivotal discoveries for understanding truly gigantic dinosaurs occurred in the 1980s, with the finding of Argentinosaurus in Argentina. In 1987, a farmer in Neuquén province, Argentina, discovered a massive vertebra, unlike anything seen before. Subsequent excavations led by paleontologists Rodolfo Coria and José Bonaparte unearthed more colossal bones, including additional vertebrae and a 2.5-meter-long tibia, shin bone. The sheer scale of these bones immediately indicated an animal of unprecedented size. The challenges were immense. The bones were fragile, often encased in hard rock, and their size made them incredibly heavy. Excavating such specimens required large teams, heavy machinery, and specialized techniques to prevent damage. Plaster jackets, often reinforced with wood or metal, were constructed around each bone to protect it during transport from the remote field site to the laboratory. Once in the lab, painstaking preparation involved removing rock matrix and stabilizing the fossilized bone. The discovery of Argentinosaurus redefined the upper limits of dinosaur size and highlighted South America as a hotbed for gigantic Titanosaur discoveries. Another groundbreaking series of discoveries happened in the early 2000s, again in Argentina, leading to the description of Patagotitan majorum. In 2008, a shepherd discovered fossil bones in the Chubut province. Subsequent excavations led by José Luis Carballido and Diego Pol from the Egidio Ferrulio Paleontological Museum uncovered over 200 bones belonging to at least 6 individual titanosaurs. This was an extraordinarily rare find. multiple individuals of a gigantic species in one location. This wealth of material allowed for a much more complete understanding of Patagotitan's anatomy and size. The scale of the excavation was enormous, involving dozens of scientists and technicians. Transporting the massive femurs, which measured 2.4 meters in length, and other huge bones required custom-built crates and specialized vehicles. The sheer volume of material meant years of preparation and study in the lab, but it yielded some of the most robust data for estimating the size of the very largest dinosaurs. The discovery of Supersaurus in the 1970s in Colorado, United States, was significant for establishing the extreme length some sauropods could reach. Initial finds included partial vertebrae and a shoulder blade, which by their sheer size indicated an animal significantly longer than previously known dinosaurs. Supersaurus fragments were found alongside those of Ultrasaurus and Diplodocus, leading to initial confusion and lumping of specimens, but further analysis clarified its unique identity as potentially the longest dinosaur. Excavation of these immense brittle bones from hard sandstone formations required careful planning to avoid breakage, often involving the creation of strong plaster jackets directly in the field. While not the very largest, the discovery of Brachiosaurus altithorax in the late 1800s in Colorado by Elmer S. Riggs was crucial for understanding vertical height among dinosaurs. Its uniquely long front legs and towering shoulder blades revealed an animal built for high brows. The nearly complete skeleton, though large, was relatively easier to excavate than later Titanosaur finds, but its size still presented significant logistical challenges for preparation, mounting, and display, notably at the Field Museum in Chicago. Its completeness allowed for highly accurate size estimations early on. The story of Spinosaurus aegyptiacus is another compelling example, highlighting how discoveries can challenge previous notions about apex predators. First described from fragments found in Egypt in the early 20th century by Ernst Stromer, most of the original fossils were destroyed during World War II. For decades, Spinosaurus was known mainly from illustrations and scientific descriptions. However, new discoveries in Morocco in the 2000s, including more complete tail and limb bones, revolutionized its understanding. These new fossils, sometimes found by local prospectors and later acquired by paleontologists like Nizar Ibrahim, revealed its semi-aquatic adaptations and a body plan far different from other giant theropods. Excavating these fossils from remote desert locations, often exposed to harsher elements, and then studying them across international collaborations, presented unique logistical and scientific challenges. The new fossils allowed for a revised and much larger size estimate, making it the longest and possibly heaviest carnivorous dinosaur known. The recovery of any large dinosaur fossil involves a standardized yet demanding process. First, the fossil locality is typically identified through surface finds or by accident. Then, a detailed site mapping is conducted to understand the geological context and the orientation of the bones. Excavation involves carefully removing the surrounding rock matrix, often using small tools like picks, chisels and brushes. For large bones, pneumatic tools or even small jackhammers might be used with extreme caution. As bones are exposed, they are often stabilized with chemical hardeners to prevent crumbling. Once sufficiently exposed, the bones are jacketed in plaster and burlap, creating a protective shell for transport. These jackets can weigh hundreds or thousands of kilograms. Transport from remote locations can involve specialized vehicles, helicopters, or even mules, depending on the terrain. In the laboratory, the jackets are opened, and the remaining matrix is painstakingly removed, a process that can take years for large, complex specimens. Finally, the prepared fossils are studied, cast, to create replicas for museums, and often assembled for display, revealing the magnificent scale of these ancient giants. Each step in this process is critical, ensuring that these invaluable records of Earth's past are preserved for scientific study and public admiration. Being immense, like the biggest dinosaurs, presented a unique set of physiological and ecological challenges. While large size offered advantages like predator deterrence and access to more food, it also brought significant hurdles related to basic biological functions, mechanical stress, and environmental interaction. Overcoming these challenges required remarkable evolutionary adaptations. One of the foremost physiological challenges was maintaining body temperature. Larger bodies have a smaller surface area to volume ratio, meaning they lose heat less efficiently. This is known as the gigantothermy hypothesis. While this might have been an advantage in cooler climates, preventing heat loss, in warm, tropical Mesozoic environments, giant dinosaurs faced the risk of overheating. They likely needed ways to dissipate excess heat. Evidence suggests sauropods might have had extensive air sac systems connected to their lungs, which could have helped with internal cooling. Some theories also propose that the large dorsal sails of some dinosaurs, like Spinosaurus, or even the sheer bulk of their bodies, acted as thermal regulators, allowing for heat radiation through a large surface area when needed. Slow metabolic rates, typical of large herbivores, would also generate less internal heat, further aiding in temperature control. Circulating blood to every part of a colossal body was another monumental task. Imagine pumping blood from the heart all the way up a neck 10 meters long to reach the brain of a Brachiosaurus. This would have required an incredibly powerful heart and exceptionally high blood pressure to counteract gravity. Such high pressure would also necessitate strong elastic blood vessels. While direct evidence of dinosaur heart size or blood pressure is impossible to obtain, comparisons to large living animals suggest that their cardiovascular systems must have been highly efficient and robust. Some theories even propose that giant sauropods might have had multiple accessory hearts, or a series of pumps in their necks to aid circulation, though this remains speculative. Finding and processing enough food to fuel such massive bodies was a constant struggle for the giant herbivores. A 70,000 kilogram Argentinosaurus would have needed to consume hundreds of kilograms of plant matter daily. This necessitated efficient feeding mechanisms, such as wide gape, bulk feeding without much chewing, relying on gastroliths or fermentation, and extensive digestive tracts. Their very size allowed them to reach vegetation inaccessible to smaller animals, giving them an advantage. However, maintaining such a vast internal fermentation vat for digestion required immense energy and constant replenishment of food. The sheer time spent foraging must have been enormous, likely dominating much of their waking hours. Skeletal and muscular mechanics posed immense challenges. Supporting tens of thousands of kilograms required incredibly strong bones and powerful muscles. Dinosaur bones, particularly those of sauropods, were dense and robust, acting like pillars. Many sauropod vertebrae also contained extensive pneumatic sacs, making them lighter without sacrificing strength, similar to modern bird bones. Their limbs were often columnar, designed for weight-bearing rather than speed. The risk of bone fracture from falls or even awkward movements would have been significant for such heavy animals. Their posture and gait would have been slow and deliberate, designed for stability. Reproduction and growth rates also faced unique challenges. Laying eggs was the only way to reproduce, as giving birth to live young of that size would have been mechanically impossible for the mother. Dinosaur eggs, while large, were limited by the need for oxygen exchange, meaning they couldn't be too thick-shelled. This implies that even the largest dinosaurs started from relatively small eggs. Therefore, they had incredibly rapid growth rates to reach their colossal adult sizes within a few decades. Studies of bone growth rings suggest that sauropods experienced phenomenal growth spurts during their adolescence, growing perhaps thousands of kilograms per year. This rapid growth demanded vast nutrient intake during their juvenile years. Vulnerability during early life stages was another significant challenge. While adult giants might have been relatively safe from most predators, their hatchlings and juveniles were extremely vulnerable. They were tiny compared to their parents, and would have faced predation from a wide array of carnivores. This would have necessitated large clutch sizes and likely involved little or no parental care after hatching, with young relying on sheer numbers and rapid growth to survive. Finally, ecological susceptibility played a role. While large size offered protection from predators, it made these animals highly dependent on stable, abundant food sources and suitable habitats. Any significant environmental change like prolonged droughts, changes in vegetation, or widespread volcanic activity, as seen at the end of the Cretaceous, could devastate populations that required such vast resources. Their slow reproductive rates compared to smaller animals also meant that recovering from population declines would take a very long time, making them more vulnerable to extinction events. The challenges of being big were constantly balanced against the evolutionary advantages, shaping the lives and ultimate fate of Earth's most colossal land creatures.